Welcome from Oakmont High School in Roseville for high school football here on Comcast Sportsnet. As tonight, the Oakmont Vikings host the Del Oro Golden Eagles. Hello everyone, along with Scott Gordon, I'm Eric Alves. We're in the Sierra Foothill League, which is becoming like the SEC of high school football, where everyone beats one another except Del Oro. The Golden Eagles have won 25 straight SFL games, and with the win tonight, they can clinch a playoff berth and at least a share of a fourth straight Sierra Foothill League title. They, as usual, have a strong running game led by the 1-2 punch of Mike McKella and Hunter Paul.
Mike McKella, Hunter Paul, they run really well because they run behind a brick wall, 275, 265, 260 up front. Hunter Paul, 17 touchdowns. He's the lightning in the whole group. 17 touchdowns, over 5-6 yards a carry. And then you go to Mike McKella, over 900 yards, and again, over 5 yards a carry. But again, running behind that front line, and then they mix it up with Cole Saunders, a great quarterback who's completing over 62% of his passes. In this league, though, anybody can win on every night. You got Rockland, Roseville, Granite Bay, and oh yeah, tonight we got Del Oro and Oakmont.
Oakmont started off 5-1, but they've lost back-to-back games to Rockland and Granite Bay. To get back on the winning track, they're going to need a big game from their all-around running back, Ryan Lacey.
Ryan Lacey's verbally committed to Utah. He's rushed for over 900 yards, but you talk to Coach Dale Mortensen, he'll tell you Ryan Taylor is the most special player in this entire league, and that's saying something with the competition he has. He's rushed for over 10 touchdowns, and he's thrown for 7. He's a very special player through the air and on the ground, and he's no doubt the leader of this offense.
It is the Vikings and the Golden Eagles next on Comcast Sportsnet. And so Del Oro and Oakmont about set to get underway. As Scott mentioned, there is not a bye in the Sierra Foothill League. You look at the standings up to date. Roseville and Rockland played on Thursday night at Roseville. As a win for Roseville, 32-7. Those teams are knotted up. In fact, if Del Oro wins out and beats Granite Bay next week, there could be potentially a three-way tie for second place, although that Granite Bay and Del Oro game next week at Del Oro could have title implications. We're about set to go here. Del Oro will kick off. They are in the white and yellow. It is their sophomore Ian Scott, just in his third varsity game. And a little squibber return from about the 20. And up the sideline, it's Ryan Lacey for Oakmont. Look at Lacey down the sideline, and he will go the distance. What a way for Oakmont to start the game.
Ryan Lacey, we haven't even announced the starting lineups from either team. They like to get things going with big plays. What a way to start this game. I was just about to say, when are they going to break it up to the SEC South and SEC North like it is down south? These two teams can play, and as you saw from the opening kickoff, what a phenomenal athlete. You know why he's now committed to the University of Utah.
And Lacey, that's his second kick return for a score. That one, we'll call it 80 yards as he returned it from about the 20. Lacey also had an 88-yard return for a score against Cordova earlier this year. And Ryan Taylor, the quarterback, has the point after. You have to trust us on that. 7-0. Oakmont strikes first. And Scott, in a game like this where clearly the favorite is Del Oro, you're going to need plays like that on the Oakmont side to be in this contest, and they got it from Ryan Lacey.
Absolutely, and one of the reasons you kick a squib kick back there is to try to negate the speed of a guy like Lacey, who does a nice stiff arm tackle at about the 40 and then runs away from Del Oro. You know, he fielded it around the 20, and it's one of those situations where if he got through the next layer, because of Del Oro's team was right down on top of him, he was going to go around the outside, made a very athletic play around the 40 to break that tackle. And Ryan Lacey, special player. But let's remember, national championship game last year, Ohio State returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Florida went the other way. Del Oro's a very good team. They've been behind not very often this year. They're a very, very good team. They usually play from the lead, but all of 11 seconds just ran off the clock.
Ryan Lacey's pretty fast, huh?
That's right. 80 yards and 11. What's that 40 time breakdown to?
Very, very quick. Utah quick. Let's put it that way. Mountain West quick. And here's the thing. Oakmont does all kinds of crazy things on special teams when they're either kicking off or punting. Sometimes they squib, they onside, they fake on punts. That's because Taylor, their quarterback, does all the kicking as well. Clearly, he's a good athlete. So he'll squib this one. It's loose. Matt Leak picks it up at about the 27, and Leak returns it across the 30 to the 32. So now everybody take a deep breath. Back to some football here, though. Oakmont leads 7-0. Del Oro comes onto the field with their offense. And it is a very good one. Their quarterback is Cole Saunders. He is a senior. Behind him, Mike McKella and Jeremy Hart, where he told you about McKella. Hart's the fullback. The receivers, the X and Z Nobles. And Mateer, the tight end, is Otten, who's on his way to Sac State. The O-line, Reynoso, Heath, who's going to UNLV, Thomas, Arenshaw, and Labar. 1st and 10 At about the 32 for the Golden Eagles. And they'll run on first down with McKella. He breaks a tackle. McKella gets to the outside, and he's bumped out of bounds at the 50. An 18-yard pickup, and we may have come to a track meet.
He gets about 6 yards a run. He's rushed 153 times this year for 905 yards. He's a special player, and you saw right there, he had a huge hole to run through. He picks up 13 yards the first chance he gets to run.
The defense for Oakmont, they're going to try and stuff the box against the run. Benitez starting at nose, so also start at center. Schweiger and Boback. Boback, a two-way guy as well. He and Benitez, a rarity on this team that tries to go with the platoon system. We'll get you the rest of the D after this play. Out of the gun, Saunders keeping. He'll run up the middle. Saunders takes a hit, falls forward, and gets to the 40. Was hit by Cody Fitzgerald, the free safety. And a gain there of about 9 by Saunders. Make it second and short. The rest of the defense for Oakmont, Romero Wynn, who leads the team in tackles at 5'8", 151 pounds. Kyle Wilson and Keith Hudson. And the secondary, Goggin Grewal, Parker Fitzgerald, the second leading tackler, and Kagashal.
Saw right there, Cole Saunders, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He outsizes most of the defensive linemen for Oakmont.
Second and 1. On the ground with McKella. He will dive forward and pick up a first down. He's brought down by Jimmy Boback. And McKella, he's a guy, 5'9", 155, but certainly has a strong heart, shown by his 900 yards on the season. And it doesn't matter the size, although overall this is a very big Del Oro team. You mix in a guy like McKella running behind a strong offensive line, that sure helps.
He gets lost in there. He's kind of a little Steve Broussard, but we saw something on the second down play that I think we're going to see a lot of tonight, and that's the head coach showed me before the game that they're actually going to try to open it up, spread it out. Shotgun, 4 receiver sets. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see more of that tonight.
And so Paul's in there to spell McKella, who went to the bench, and he's brought down by Romero immediately. Maybe no gain there on the play, but what a luxury. Casey Taylor, the head coach for Del Oro, also their offensive coordinator. Yeah, you bring out McKella and his 900 yards. You bring in a guy who scored 17 touchdowns and 31 in his varsity career.
And he says they spell Hunter Paul on offense. They spell McKella on defense. But let's face it, if this game gets tight, they're both going to be on the field both ways. They play about 5 or 6 guys full time both ways.
And so a loss of a yard. In fact, it's second down and 11 for Del Oro. Their opening possession looked like Paul might have bobbled it for a second. Then he gets it and will fall forward for a couple. Benitez making the tackle. Now, this is an Oakmont defense that's kind of beaten up. They're without their starting middle linebacker, Michael Chambers, also without their nose guard. That's why Marcos Benitez right there, 75, is starting on both sides of the ball. And Russell Labard, a sophomore who's starting the D-line, got banged up last week against Granite Bay as well. So nothing like going up against an 8-0 Del Oro team without your full defense. Paul got about 4. We'll say 3rd and 7. As McKella back in there, out of the eye, he's the deep back. Fake to him by Saunders. Looking over the middle, one-handed catch by Otten, a first down up to the 15, a pickup of 22, and there's a reason why Sac State has offered him a scholarship.
Otten is wide open over the middle, and actually Saunders doesn't throw this particularly well. I think he thought Otten was going to keep moving on the dig route. He stopped. So if you watch here on the replay, great ball fake this time to McKella, and that's what all the running does. Opens up great play action downfield. Saunders throws in a great one-handed catch down there for a first down, and you see already why they've got a few guys that already have Division I scholarships and Division I AA at this point.
25th reception by Otten. Toss to McKella. He'll run to the left, cuts it inside, got tripped up in there, and he's at the goal mouth here on the beautiful field turf at Oakmont. In fact, they're one of the first teams in the Sac Joaquin section to go with the field turf. A beautiful facility here on the campus, and McKella takes it inside the 10. We'll call it the 8, a gain of 6.
He gets a penalty kick if he centers that one right there. We saw a lacrosse game at halftime of the JV. We should congratulate the Del Oro JV, who's run their record to 9-0 with an impressive 34-6 win here at Oakmont. Nice crowd on hand for this one, Eric.
The black hole here from Del Oro, the student section, which is very rowdy. Coming off a win last week is Del Oro against an unbeaten at the time, Rockland. Here's Paul, maybe a yard or so, and then Rockland went down last night in the city of Roseville to Roseville High, and you wonder if there was some residuals from losing the week before to Del Oro, as they were handled pretty well by Roseville, 32-7.
You mentioned it in the open, though. It's very tough, and not only are the teams good, but the styles of offense are different. Oakmont runs the fly. Granite Bay runs the fly. Then you see Del Oro, they pound it down your throat. So how do you really get prepared for it? I was talking to Casey Taylor before the game, and he said it's really tough to center in on one offense.
Paul gets about 3, right around the first down marker. Let's see as they clear the bodies from the tackle, and it's going to be, looks like just short. They put 4th down up, so Paul got about 3, maybe needed 3.5 there, and it's 4th and a half a yard or so.
No question, they're going forward here, trying to, even if they don't convert, then you pin Oakmont very deep back down there. They want to get a touchdown and even things up. This has been an impressive 4-minute drive so far for Del Oro.
They'll give it to Paul. There's a reason why he scored 17, now 18 touchdowns on the season. He burrows in behind that offensive line, and the Golden Eagles take it down the field and answer the kick return of Oakmont.
5'11", 200, an outstanding linebacker. And oh, by the way, 18 touchdowns, and now his 9th game. He's averaging 2 a game. And this football team, whose offense has kind of sputtered the last couple of weeks, even though they've remained undefeated, really gets back on track and evens this thing up with 7 minutes to play here in the first quarter.
Very impressive opening drive by Del Oro. There's Ian Scott handling now the place kicking for the 3rd straight week. He is a sophomore. Megleby puts the snap down, but it's wide, so Scott misses the point after his first miss, now 4 of 5. And so we will take the break with Oakmont on top 7-6. They will get the ball on offense for the first time when we come back. 7:08 to play in the opening quarter. This is high school football on Comcast Sportsnet. It's Oakmont on top of Del Oro. Oakmont returned the opening kick for a score, an 80-yard return by Ryan Lacey, and then Del Oro, they move it down the field 68 yards in 4.5 minutes, and it culminates in a touchdown run on 4th and less than a yard by Hunter Paul. And so Oakmont to get it on offense for the first time here at Oakmont High School in Roseville, but very impressive opening offensive drive there for Del Oro.
Casey Taylor fell right back on the things he liked to do. He told me before the game, we're going to really open it up. And then he came out and he threw 1 pass on that whole drive, but he ran behind McKellen and Paul to get 6 points.
Randall Purdy returning this time for the Vikings, and Purdy across the 25 to the 27. And so that's where Oakmont will have it on offense. And they have a dynamic duo in the backfield. The quarterback, Ryan Taylor, we've talked about, as well as the running back, Ryan Lacey. Higgins is the fullback. Purdy, the flyback, as they run the fly offense with some veer principles as well. Vadim Balabanov is the receiver. His first year playing varsity football. Bobak is the tight end. The offensive line, Morris, Manzano, Benitez, Gonzalez, and Smith.
A little different up front. They go 178, 185. And 186. The one exception is Marcos Benitez, 305.
That's the center, which makes you think they'll run some inside. They run outside this time, though, to the left for a short gain on first down. And it's Braden Avery. Avery across the 30 to the 32 actually ends up getting close to 5, so not a bad run there. As we look at the defense for Del Oro, Heath, a two-way guy, Thompson, and Reynoso, also a two-way guy. A lot of two-way guys for Del Oro, about 5.5 if you consider Paul and also McKella two-way guys. Brunet, the only junior that starts, although Casey Cox will now jump in for McKella, so making it 2 juniors on defense. Paul Hart and Otten. And the secondary will get you after this play as it's 2nd down and 5. Lacey, he'll try and run right. There is a flag thrown. Nice job defensively by Del Oro. Of course, they're going to key on Lacey all night long, but we'll have our first call tonight from our referee, Russ Bennett.
You know, when you can't match up physically inside, you see what they're trying to do around the outside with sweeps or these zone plays that bounce it outside to Avery. But one of the things they're really going to have to watch for is they can't put themselves in 2nd and 3rd and long situations.
2nd down.
And so a block in the back there against Oakmont. And he'll put the ball all the way back to the 15 and bring up a 2nd and we'll say about 22.
And when I was talking to Dale Mortensen this week, you know, I talked to him about the Granite Bay game, and he said, you know, it was just a couple plays here and there, literally 2 or 3 to set the tone and decided who wins this game, and penalties will kill you tonight.
You see the secondary there for Del Oro. Mateer had 2 picks last week in the shutout of Rockland. Taylor to the air, overshoots Bobak, and he pays for it. A big hit by Chaz Caruth. Got to be careful to hang your receivers out to dry there. And so Caruth with the big hit. And it brings up now a 3rd and 22, and clearly this is not the type of situation Oakmont wants to see themselves in against this Del Oro defense.
No, they want to keep themselves in 2nd and 3rd in short situations. They think that obviously that gives them a better opportunity to negate the size. Right now what Del Oro can do is drop 5 guys and rush 5 or 6 up hard and put some pressure on Ryan Taylor, very poised, good senior quarterback, but this is not an ideal place for him to be in.
3rd and 22, Taylor running for his life. Across the 30, Taylor to the 40 nearly, and it looks like his forward progress will give him the first down. He needed 22, he got about 24.
Maybe it was an ideal situation for him to be in. They want to keep Del Oro in 3rd and 22 all night. And that's what Coach Mortensen said. He's so excited about Taylor. Really likes his leadership, says the kids lend themselves. 3-step drop, predetermined quarterback draw, and you see the blocking downfield. Nice job by Marcus Benitez, the center, downfield to pick up the linebacker. He's got 17, and then the athleticism gets him the last 4 or 5 as he breaks tackles. Smart quarterback. Knew exactly where the sticks were there. Gets himself a first down.
1st and 10 for Oakmont, leading 7-6 from the 39. And drilled immediately was Lacey. And it's Reynoso that's all over that play. And so Jack Reynoso, he's a two-way guy, 4th on the team in tackles, leads them in sacks, and he blows that play up, a loss of 1 there.
Well, that's the problem they're going to run into all night. He runs 6'4", 250, matching up against somebody on the other side, 6'1", 178. So they're going to try to go up the middle on him. They've got to try to keep him off balance, but that's really not going to be the strength of the feature of their offense. You're going to see a lot of what they're doing here. 4 receivers set out. Give Taylor some short drops so he can throw the ball up the field.
2nd and 11. Back at the 38. Taylor in the flats looking to Avery. Incomplete. Jeremy Hart, the outside backer in coverage for Del Oro.
Just a little bit high with that pass that time. Avery came in motion, had a good head of steam right there, and that also sets up when they throw to the motion guy, he can go out and up down the road and also sets up some things underneath. So 3rd long situation, normally one they don't want to be in, but as we just saw from Ryan Taylor, exactly where he wants him to be.
They converted 3rd and 22. This is 3rd and 11, so it should be twice as easy.
That's right.
There's Oakmont in the dark blue with the light blue striping down the side. In their 2nd year back in the Sierra Foothill, as they returned last in the Sierra Foothill in 01, in between in the Pioneer Valley. A lot of noise here on the Del Oro side from the student section. Taylor will roll to the right. Not a lot of area to throw. Looking down the field, and it's picked off. Interception by Del Oro, and they'll come the other way. It's Mateer again, and he gets to midfield. So Andrew Mateer, his 6th interception of the season, had 2 last week in the win against Rockland. And actually, Avery had gotten deep down the field. Taylor just didn't put enough on it. Nice pick there by Mateer.
Well, you made a great call that time, Eric, because he needed to put some air underneath it because Mateer had come up to make the interception. Avery had snuck behind him. But what Avery's got to do in that situation when he sees his quarterback is underthrown is come back and make himself the defensive back. Let's take a look at the interception right here. Avery is right behind him. You see, you got to adjust to the football. Even if you go back and get an offensive pass interference, that's fine. You get to punt, you get a little bit better field position. But nice athletic play by Mateer. Great interception.
1 back set for Del Oro. That's Mike McKella, and he'll take the handoff. And McKella is hit pretty hard by Romero, the linebacker, and so a gain of 3 for McKella brings up 2nd and 7.
For Ryan Taylor, that's his 4th interception on the air, just trying to make an athletic play there.
Dale Mortensen, the head man for Oakmont, came from Granite Bay where he was an assistant, so he knows Del Oro very well, looking on and saw his team return the opening kickoff.
Really done a nice job there. 2-8 last season. Got him started off 5-1 this year, 5-3 currently.
Here's the run by McKella on 2nd down, and he'll be very close to a first down. Benitez in on another tackle, but McKella with a good burst. Again, that offensive line opening some holes.
They really are, and it's just funny because I talked to Casey Taylor before the game, and he said, I think they're going to try to shut us down, so we're going to be able to go up to the top, and then they return the opening kickoff, and you know what? The old coach came out and said, you know, we're just going to run them down, then get a lead. Then they might open it up. But just like it was important for Del Oro to get back in the game after the big kick, Oakmont has to make a play defensively, whether it's a turnover or a stop right here.
3rd down and 1. Under 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. It's Paul And that's easy for him on a 3rd and 1 behind that offensive line. Paul gets about 3 right there.
Hunter Paul runs in so hard behind his offensive line. It's almost like they put McKella around the outside. He kind of hides, almost Barry Sanders-esque, behind those big offensive linemen, cuts the inside out. Paul is just no question. He's going straight up the middle, right at you. We call them thunder and lightning before the game. He's the Lendell White version, the way he tucks behind his offensive line.
Schweiger in on that last tackle for Oakmont, but right now, Oakmont defensively cannot stop Del Oro. Their second possession on the move. 1st and 10. McKella cuts it back inside, runs into a wall there. Nice job by Oakmont as that D-line stands tall there. Schweiger in on another tackle. Also, Mung Win in on that one.
Nice job defensively. Now, that's the plan right there from Dale Mortensen. You saw he had 8 players in the box. He didn't even cover the slot receiver. Del Oro comes out with that zone play, trying to bounce it outside. But they had 8 guys in the box, well defensed by Oakmont. That's what they practiced all week. Even though Saunders completes 62% of his passes, that's the poison that he wants to try to force Del Oro to beat him with.
2nd and 8. Play action by Saunders, looking deep to Mateer. He's open at the 10. Mateer, does he stay in bounds? No touchdown signal. That means he went out at the 6. Mateer was open, though, and Saunders able to find him off a little play action.
Great play action fake here. Great ball fake by Saunders. Comes inside, fakes the zone play. They just ran to the other side, sets his feet underneath him. Mateer wide open down the field, and does a nice job of breaking the tackle. And if you look at the replay, just steps out right there at the 6-yard line. So a touchdown-saving tackle by Oakmont. That's Cody Fitzgerald down there, his 2nd stop of the game. But Oakmont again in that red zone.
As their backs are up against the wall, Del Oro on the doorstep. Here's Paul. He tried to break it to the outside. Outstanding tackle on the play there from Oakmont's Matt Ewing.
Matt Ewing is smaller than Hunter Paul, goes up and goes right after the legs. And the first time tonight you've seen Hunter Paul try to break it to the outside because there was nothing up the middle. Cuts to the outside, a nice open field tackle. Oakmont a good tackling team. It's just their defense has really been on the field all except for, 2 first downs that Oakmont was able to generate offensively.
And when you're undersized, that's going to really wear you down.
You want your offense on the field.
2nd and goal after a loss of 1. Hart went in motion. Little swing pass. Mateer has a block by Nobles and gets in. Andrew Mateer on a little swing pass. Nice block by Nobles. The X and the Z scores Mateer. Del Oro's had it twice, and twice they've driven it down the field for touchdowns.
Well, Mateer, it's pretty fitting. He made the great interception to set this up on the 3rd and 11 play. Ryan Taylor threw the interception, and Mateer comes down on the other end, makes a big play to set up the touchdown, and actually sets it up. But a nice job of blocking. Cole Saunders so far tonight has completed every throw that he's had to make.
And Scott on for the point after he hooked the last one. And it's again no good. Hooks it for a 2nd time. Looked like the snap was pretty good for Magleby and Saunders with the hole, but twice Scott has hooked it, so that's the only thing not going the way of Del Oro. They lead, though, 12-7. Final minute of the opening quarter here at Oakmont High School in Roseville. You're watching high school football on Comcast Sportsnet. 12-7 Del Oro on top. Eric Alf, Scott Gordon with you here on Comcast Sportsnet. And Scott, we're about to play of Cole Saunders. Again, we mentioned the open, and Del Oro is known for the running game. They have a very good running game. Saunders, though, has shown he's capable. In that drive, he was 2 for 2 for 37 yards, threw the touchdown to Mateer. In the game, 3 for 3 so far. And clearly, if teams force Del Oro to throw, they'll still just be fine.
Oh, he's very comfortable. He threw a nice pass. He's great at the ball fakes, and they run the ball so well that every time he's ball faked and play action, he's had all day to throw. Set his feet underneath him well, threw a nice pass to Mateer, and then ran that screen out there, and really it was Barry Nobles downfield making a nice block as we take a look at the black hole as Del Oro has traveled well from Loomis. There are no meals or gas stations tonight in Loomis. They're all here supporting their phenomenal football team, 8-0. We had Cardinal Newman earlier this year, and Del Oro, of course, beat them.
Gave them their only loss. On the return For Oakmont, it's Matt Ewing, and Ewing, look at this return. So far the best offense for Oakmont has been returning the kickoff from Del Oro. Ewing gets nearly to the 45, and you mentioned it earlier after the first touchdown by Del Oro, Scott, the fact that over the last couple of games, Del Oro hasn't been scoring a lot of points on offense. In fact, there are 3 Sierra Foothill games, they've only scored 40 points. It was 16-13 a win against Roseville, 14-7 a win at Oakmont, and then 14-0 last week against Rockland. Now, in the first 5 games of the season, they averaged 36 per game, scored 180. Coach Casey Taylor said, hey, we can play a shootout and win that, or we can play the slugfest and win that. That's why they're 8-0 and potentially in line to play for the state championship in California, Division II. Lacey, a lot of room in front of him. Ryan Lacey showing that speed, and he gets down to the 31. A tackle there in the secondary by Craig Andre. And again, I know there were some other defenders down the field. If Andre maybe doesn't make that tackle, I think Lacey could be gone again.
Yeah, but you and I have been calling games all season. It's pretty special to see a guy like Ryan Lacey break open downfield and then kick it into another gear. Look, he just kind of puts it into another gear. There's that extra step. That's why he's a D1 player, and he finishes his runs at the end. They get those extra 3 and 4 yards. And, Taylor came out. He's a little, this is a big game for him. He didn't throw the ball well his first 2 times out, so it's important for Lacey to have a big night.
He'll take it again on a delay. Not much doing up in the middle, and that's the thing. With that interior of Del Oro being so good, you're going to have to hope to get Lacey to the outside to use that speed.
And that's what he did. They ran the same play to the opposite side. Lacey bounced it outside to the left. He got the big yardage. And Del Oro does the same thing. They really pack the offensive line 5 or 6 deep. As we wrap up the first quarter here, they're able to, because if Lacey can get to that next level, as we saw from the kick return, he can be very dangerous.
And so we've played 1 quarter at Oakmont High School in Roseville. The Vikings returned the opening kickoff for a score, but since then, 2 scoring drives by the Del Oro offense. They missed both point afters, but still lead 12-7. We're in the Sierra Foothill League, and no surprise, it's a close one here on Comcast Sportsnet. 12-7, Del Oro on top of Oakmont. Oakmont, though, on the move. Eric Al, Scott Gordon with you. And I mentioned the fact that Del Oro potentially could play for a Division II state championship. In the Cal High Sports rankings, they are #1. Now, in the Cal Preps rankings, they have St. Mary's of Stockton #1. St. Mary's of Stockton has a loss, that being to Jesuit. But you look at the Cal High Sports ranking, Mark Tennis actually makes a presentation to the section commissioners. They're the ones that vote on the participants in the state bowl game. You see Del Oro, St. Mary's right behind. We've seen Oakdale. We've seen Manteca. A lot of familiar teams. Now, ironically enough, in the Division III bowl game rankings, it's Cardinal Newman and Central Catholic. Each team has a loss. St. Mary's beat Central Catholic. Del Oro beat Cardinal Newman.
But as we know, it's better to lose early than late.
Yep.
And Cardinal Newman has run off 6 in a row.
Here is Lacey again. Ryan Lacey inside the 10, down to the 8 as Lacey picks up 21, and his speed right now too much for Del Oro.
And they're doing it inside, allowing him to bounce to the outside. He's breaking tackles. He's showing his athleticism. And this will set up play action later in the game. As you can see him breaking tackles as he gets down in almost the goal box there, if you will. But this is a great drive for Oakmont, because if they can score 1, they'll take the lead because of the missed extra points. But it looked like they were really shell-shocked after back-to-back really good drives by Del Oro.
Yeah, they needed a drive like this, and it's 3 straight runs by Lacey to kind of calm things down. There is a flag on the field. Play has been stopped.
If you do notice, though, Eric, what they're doing, they're putting their receivers out wide, forcing at least 4 defenders out of the play, and then trying to catch them off balance inside. Excuse me.
Step infraction on the offense.
And so that'll move back Oakmont to the 19.
That's Marcos Benitez. They say a snap infraction there. It's just moving the ball when they come up. It's simulating a snap, if you will. That's what causes that penalty.
I said the 19, I beg your pardon, the 14, where it's still 1st and goal. Taylor, he'll run for it on a design play again, and he runs in to the Del Oro defense. Nowhere for him to go out on the edge. It's Andre again. The corner, who's the #2 tackler for Del Oro, makes another stop here early going. We saw Taylor pick up that 3rd and 22 on the quarterback draw, but clearly Del Oro is going to be ready for that if they weren't already.
And, you ran Lacey 3 plays in a row. You had to think they were going to come back with Taylor on the other side. But the 2 Ryans been very, very impressive so far athletically. It's going to have to be their plays, their athletic plays, and their instincts that gets them back in this game.
Ball's inside the 10, near the 7 for Oakmont on 2nd and goal. Lacey, again running up the middle. Takes a good pop, but he gets inside the 3 to the 2. A gain of 5 there, and it'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. And in a game like this, Oakmont can't be putting up field goals. They have to match the touchdowns of Del Oro with touchdowns of their own.
Well, 3rd down here, but man, is Lacey quick. He comes on the speed play in motion. That's designed for him to take it around the outside. He stops between the A gap, the center, and the guard, cuts back and gets down to the 1-yard line. I'm of the opinion here, actually, if they don't get it, kick the field goal, because of the way the kicking game's going and the way
Taylor keeping, and he scores. Doesn't matter.
Do you go for 2 here, maybe to extend it out to 3? I know it's early in the game, but 1 extra point really doesn't get you much. We'll see. Nice drive by Oakmont, though, to answer.
And so Taylor scores. And I like that call, too. Don't have to fool around with the exchange. You get behind that center, Marcos Benitez, above 300 pounds. You follow him in. And Taylor has pretty decent size as well. And now he has the point after. So the kicking game working for Oakmont. That's the difference right now. 2 touchdowns each side. Oakmont has both point afters. Del Oro has neither. And look at the Vikings hanging tough. We'll take the break as well. 10:03 to go here in the second. Oakmont on top of Del Oro, 14-12 here on Comcast Sportsnet. 14-12, Oakmont on top. A 2-yard touchdown by their quarterback, Ryan Taylor. But really, Scott, that drive was all Ryan Lacey. 4 carries, 53 yards. And, of course, he has the earlier kick return. Right now, he's keeping Oakmont in this game and keeping them in the lead.
And they answered, and I love that call. You called it great down on the goal line. You know, you go up, it's Marcus Benitez and Ryan Taylor. And they're really the only 2 guys that need to know when to snap it. You can just tap the outside of his leg or the inside. When he's ready to go, he cuts in behind him and gets the 1-yard run. But Lacey, his ability to break tackles and cut to the outside, stop on a dime and cut back inside. He was so impressive on that drive. He has the kick return already tonight. What a football game. Oakmont answered. You know, for a while I was getting a little nervous. Del Oro had 2 straight drives. Oakmont didn't do anything, but now their special teams and their offense got them right back in it.
Well, and here's the thing. Oakmont is still yet to stop Del Oro. They've answered with a couple of touchdowns of their own, but they've yet to stop Del Oro. Again, the little fake squib, they end up bouncing it. And it'll come back to the 16. The return from there by Casey Cox. There's a couple of flags thrown as Cox is tripped up.
Might have a block in the back, which is a spot foul around the 25, which will take field position from really the 35 down to back around the 15. But, you know, they're trying to negate the speed of Del Oro there, and they do call a hold.
We'll get the call here from Russ Bennett. We want to thank him for turning our way as well.
Blocking it back on the return team. 1st down.
You know, that happens a lot on squibs.
We have a blue board 500, illegally parked blocking
because you've got the back of the defender coming in, and they turn around and try to get upfield to make a tackle, and Del Oro's just excited, hits him right in the back.
And so Del Oro starts at their own 15, down by 2, and shocking, a good game in the Sierra Foothill League. One certainly that Del Oro at 8-0 was the favorite coming in, but Oakmont did start out 5-1, and even though they've lost their last 2, they've been in the game, certainly with Rockland and Granite Bay. That's McKella, about 5 there. He's brought down by Mung Win.
Nice defensive play there to stretch that out, not allow him a cutback lane, and also force the running back to pick between the defense and the sideline there. Nice job. And, you know, one of the true crimes of this is the fact that only 2 teams from this league actually get into the playoffs. I mean, you have Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay, Del Oro, Oakmont. 2 of those schools are going to get it, and that's it.
Yeah, you could easily have 4, I think, legitimate playoff teams in this league when it's all said and done. But there's a very real possibility there could be a coin flip potentially to determine who gets in. That's Saunders keeping. He'll be very near a Del Oro 1st down. And Del Oro's down by 2. It's still very early here. But you look at their season, especially early in the year, they've had to come from behind on a couple of occasions. Against Cardinal Newman early, they were up 20-14 at the half, very close, but they scored 28 in the second half. Against Christian Brothers, at home, they were down 26-7. In fact, that was their first home game after they started out 3 on the road. 26-14, they're down at the half. A 27-point third quarter, kind of telling you about the explosive capabilities. We'll tell you more after this 3rd down play, and that is enough. It was 3rd and about a half a yard there.
Hunter Paul again, Mr. Inside and Outside. This is like Joe Bellino in Army. One runs up inside, and they give it to quick McKella around the outside. But twice they've put Saunders in shotgun and had him run with it. You have to think they're setting something up with that down the road.
Doc Blanchard?
That's right.
Yeah. There is Casey Taylor to the right. For him, 6 years at the helm. And look at that mark, 59-10. A loss and a half a year. He's about 10 and 1.5 is his average a year. That's relatively ridiculous.
You know, he's so proud of the program. He's down there watching the JV game, telling me how they're undefeated, and they won again tonight. We mentioned that. And he's got the Pop Warner programs running the same offense all the way down to the mini midgets at the age of 6. So they get here. He's really done such a nice job. He's a former player at San Francisco State. Stopped playing football when football was dropped.
Right.
Went up and finished his degree at Chico State. But just very, very impressive with what he's been able to accomplish.
And he went to Oak Ridge, an Oak Ridge guy doing very well at Del Oro. 2nd and 8. And Del Oro keeping it on the ground here. That's Paul. He'll get across the 35 to about the 37. It's going to leave him a yard or two shy of the first down. Also mentioned some of the other games that Del Oro has had to come from behind. Against Nevada Union, they were down 14-6 early in the season. They had a 20-point third quarter. And recently, as we said, they've scored only 40 points in their last 3. All wins, but only 7 in the second half. That was 7 last week against Rockland in the second half. But again, those type of games sometimes determine how many points are scored. It's not necessarily because your offense is struggling. That's kind of the way the game goes. In fact, last week, Del Oro only had 2 possessions the entire first half against Rockland. Here on third down, that's Paul. He's just a bowling ball getting through there. There was a 13-play drive eating up almost 7 minutes last week in the first half. A touchdown scoring drive by Del Oro, telling you what they have. That's just enough. I was almost premature there. They had to take a good hard look at it, but Paul had just enough for the first down.
Paul ran right through the tackler, did a nice job. You know, sometimes keeping the energy level up for 10 games in a row is very difficult. You also need to keep into account the weather was a factor in some of those games.
The Wood Creek game, right?
Wood Creek game. I talked to Coach Taylor before the game. He said they moved the ball well up and down the field, committed some penalties, had problems with the kicking game, but tough league. You know, a win is a win, and he knows that they need to finish strong going into the playoffs, but they are 8-0 in a very, very tough schedule so far.
Nearing 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Saunders looking deep, Mateer, and it's picked. What an interception, as streaking across defensively is Cody Fitzgerald, taking away maybe a touchdown from Mateer.
Oh, that was a great athletic play. I thought Mateer was going to streak behind him there on the post pattern, catch it and go. Well, what a phenomenal play, and that is a great, they have stopped him now. And it was almost like a delayed response of the crowd and the sidelines there. Did you notice that?
They couldn't believe it.
He made a great interception, and they're like, he's got it. Now watch this. This is a pretty good throw by Saunders. It's a tight spiral. He's got Mateer. Mateer's going the outside again. There's that situation. Put some air underneath it, but what a job defensively. And now Oakmont has an opportunity up by 2.
Both teams have turned it over once. And there's a stoppage. Let's see, was there a timeout taken? And it looks like Del Oro has taken a timeout. They are down by 2. They just turned it over. The first time their offense has been stopped. Scoreboard shows 14-12 in favor of the upstart Oakmont Vikings with 6:09 to go here in quarter number 2. We will step aside as well. This is high school football, and this is a very good one on Comcast Sportsnet. 14-12, Oakmont on top of Del Oro with possession. Now again, Oakmont coming in 5-3. They were 5-1. They're a good team. It's not David versus Goliath by any stretch of the imagination. But Del Oro, an 8-0 team. Top team in the state of California Division II according to Cal High rankings, also in the bowl rankings as well. Here's Avery on the move as he tries to get outside, and there's a bottleneck over around the 30. But Oakmont clearly is up to the task tonight, due in large part to the play of Ryan Lacey. But the defense, hey, in a shootout like this, maybe you only need a couple of stops, and you get the turnover there on the great play by Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Cody Fitzgerald made a huge play right there. It's going to be turnovers and who's able to stop one another. We had a chance to do Oakdale and Cardinal Newman, where it was offense just back and forth, 41-38. It turned out to be mistakes on the kicking game that cost Oakdale that game. So, I mean, Oakmont, you know, they look back at the Rockland game, 30-19. They were within a score.
Yep.
They convert a fake punt. Excuse me, they went for a fake punt, able to convert it, but they could have got a touchdown there. So they've been in every game.
That's Lacey up to the 34. It's going to be about a yard to 2 short there and bring up a 3rd and short. But yeah, you're right. In this league, a couple of plays, and we've already seen a couple of plays kind of turn the tide back and forth in this contest. So 3rd and 2, what do you do if you're over in the Oakmont huddle? What kind of a play do you go with on 3rd and 2? Do you give it to Lacey? Because certainly Del Oro knows that's probably coming.
Well, you give it to Lacey, but you also have the option of pulling it out and running it with Taylor around the outside. You know, you have 2 good options. You also have a slot guy right now that's completely uncovered. So they're going to talk about it a little bit more because this is a big 3rd down, because if Oakmont converts it, they have a chance to go down, run a lot of clock off, and maybe get some more points. Del Oro, who's had the 2 more impressive drives, they are better when their offense is on the field. Oakmont is. Del Oro needs to make this stop because, heck, they had a turnover, but they really haven't been stopped on any of their drives so far tonight. So Oakmont being on the field offensively is exactly what they want.
And look at the fans for Del Oro. Why wouldn't you travel to watch this team? 8-0. This was the matchup last year. Cameron Frazier had 5 touchdowns, 240 yards plus on the ground. Ryan Lacey, though, last year as a junior, a touchdown receiving and a touchdown rushing. Now, Lacey's been kind of shut down over the last 2 games. He's only had 62 yards on the ground combined between Rockland and Granite Bay. He's already right at that tonight. You throw in the kick return as well. He's been a much bigger factor in the game here tonight than he was the last 2 weeks.
Big players show up for big games. Every week it's tough. Every week they're focusing on them. You and I have covered some very, very good running backs. And he is as quick as we've seen. His ability to get to that next level. I mean, we started off the year with Marcellus Williams over at Grant, good running back. But the quickness and the ability to stop on a dime and also finish his runs going forward, he's stepping up tonight. It's a big home game. He knows if they win out, hey, they get a shot at the playoffs.
Let's not forget about them. 3rd and 2 for Oakmont, leading by 2, 14-12. Here's Ryan Taylor. Taylor, he'll keep it. Got to turn the corner, and he cannot. A fine play defensively for Del Oro by Joe Brunet. Brunet, really the only junior that started on defense, although tonight Cox is in there as well. But Brunet, one-on-one against a speedy quarterback, makes the play.
Brunet, great job of stretching it out. That's what Coach Taylor talked about before the game. We want Taylor. It forces a quarterback to be indecisive. You give him the run, pass, roll out. He rolls out. He's thinking, hey, if I get a crease here, I'm going to run and get it. In the meantime, his receivers are covered down the field, so when he decides to take off, he's got nowhere to go. They do a nice job of leveraging, keeping the quarterback in front of him, knowing where the sidelines is. Nice defensive stop, and now that's big for Del Oro. They're going to get the ball back with 4 minutes to go.
Taylor, he thought about faking it, maybe or just wanted to see the reaction. Again, Taylor, the quarterback, does all the kicking for Oakmont, which is a big weapon. McKella with the fair catch at the 30, and so Del Oro, again, really outside of a spectacular defensive play by Fitzgerald, that's the only time their offense has been stopped, so they get it again, down by 2 with the ball at their own 30.
And you got to look back at those 2 missed extra points in a close game like this. You know, they're going to have an opportunity right now to drive down the field, run some clock off, get some points. Remember, they get the ball first in the second half because Oakmont returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. So that's ideally what they want. A long drive, get some points, get in the locker room, come out and get some more.
Again, they had that monster drive last week against Rockland, 6 minutes, 57 seconds, 13 plays, 82 yards, and a touchdown. McKella, just a couple. So the Oakmont defense getting a little stronger here as the game goes on after they struggled a little bit early on. That's Wynn with another tackle for him, and he's kind of a tackling machine. And so McKella only spotted with a 2-yard gain.
And both coaches mentioned this, that the fact that Granite Bay runs the fly, that Oakmont kind of runs the fly in the veer, that Rockland runs a different offense in Roseville, that they really weren't sure what to expect or had a scheme against it. So the chess match is over after the first quarter now. They've made their adjustments, and Oakmont has decided we're going to try to take the run away as they put 8 guys in the box.
2nd down and 8 for Del Oro. Fake by Saunders. Drops it off to the fullback. It's Hart. And Hart has a first down. Jeremy Hart, who is good out of the backfield, that's his 14th catch. A lot of high school teams ignore the fullback in the passing game, but Hart's a good one, and that's enough for a Del Oro first down.
A good program like Del Oro doesn't ignore anybody. That's a great play call right there because they've been running well. They've been running the zone play. And I'm really impressed with Cole Saunders, his ability to ball fake. That's a good, puts the ball out there. Ball fakes very, very well. Gets the ball back to Hart. So far tonight, he's actually completed every pass. One of them went to Oakmont, but he's thrown the ball pretty well. Nice play there for a first down.
4 for 5 for a score and the aforementioned pick. And you're right, he handles the ball very well. Certainly the running game helps teams bite, but if you're not carrying out those fakes, it doesn't matter. That's Saunders keeping, getting good yardage, just shy of the 50. He'll be spotted down at the 49. Fitzgerald in on the tackle, and also Keith Hudson as well. And there's an Oakmont Viking injured right at midfield.
And that's a nice weapon to have, Cole Saunders. They go out of the shotgun. He's taken it all 3 times. Big yardage, and he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, 6'2", 200, very, very athletic. You got Mike McKella, who obviously is quick around the outside, very athletic, and then Hunter Paul. So they come at you with a lot of different weapons, and you can see why they're undefeated. But Oakmont so far has been up to the task. We take a look at the replay and try to see what happened behind the play. But talk about he's carrying defenders. I mean, he would, by size, could be as big as some of the Oakmont defensive linemen are, but stays in there, does a nice job of finishing the run.
And again, on defense, Oakmont without 3 starters due to injury can ill afford to lose another guy. Again, we're not sure whom is the injured player for Oakmont, but they certainly can't afford to lose another one. It'll be second and about 3 upcoming for Del Oro as they're attending to the injured Viking here in week 9 of the high school football season. We want to take a look at the Division II playoff bracket because, you know, we're talking about state title games and all that kind of stuff. Well, first of all, you better get in the playoffs, which Del Oro would do with the win. Then you're going to need to win your section, because if you don't do that, then you don't go on to play for a state title game. You must first win the section. So you look at the Division II bracket, which is where Del Oro is, and the champion of the Sierra Foothill, you see them in the upper left, will play the 3 seed from the Metro. Grant and Burbank have a big one to determine the champion of the Metro. Then at the bottom, there's the other Sierra Foothill team. But in essence, if Del Oro were to win out, as you see the injured player being helped off, still can't quite make out the number. But if Del Oro were to win out here tonight and next week against Granite Bay, they could avoid the number 2 seed from the Sierra Foothill League, whoever that may be, Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, and Grant potentially until a championship game. I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves here.
We get to do that here, though.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah, no harm. We don't
Hey, the
get wins or
BCS
losses.
guys start predicting in August.
Right.
All we're trying to do is do a little playoff match. We're allowed to do that.
So what I'm saying is, what a D2 final Grant and Del Oro would be. They played in the playoffs last year in the second round. Grant beat Del Oro 27-10 on their way to a perfect season. But what a championship game that would be on the final day in November at Folsom High School for the D2 championship. And so we're back ready after the injury. Second down and 3 for Del Oro at the 49, their own, down by 2. McKella dodges a tackler and has a first down up to the 45, a gain of 6 for Mike McKella. Bringing him down on the play was Chris Romero.
You know, you could see that coming. They had a second in pretty short situation, so they run a trap up inside. Allows the center and guard to fire out. You got a guard and tackle pulling. So, you know, so far tonight, with the exception of the interception, Del Oro has done a very nice job of controlling clock, getting their athletes in a position to make plays.
They're on the move again for the 3rd time in 4 drives. Final 2 minutes and change of the opening half. Saunders looking down the field for Otten. He hauls it in. Otten bringing tacklers along for the ride. Down to the 14-yard line. A pickup there of 31 for Del Oro.
And a nice play-action play. They had 2 receivers set out to the right. Otten, the lone receiver on the left side. Here's the tight end. Just runs a corner route. And Saunders sets his feet underneath him, makes a very, very nice throw. And the 6'5", 210-pound tight end does a nice job of doing his best Mark Bavaro impersonation as he takes a few tackles with him. As Del Oro has a very nice mix of run and pass. Nice job with play action.
1st and 10, shades of Monday night against the Niners and Ronnie Lott and others trying to bring down Bavaro. There's McKella to the 8 as he picks up about 6 right there. But Otten, what a target. You mentioned his size, Scott. I mean, now for him, 26 grabs on the season, had 6 for 106 against Kennedy of Seattle as Del Oro went on the road to Seattle for their opener and won there and kind of got things rolling. Had a catch and a touchdown against Cardinal Newman in their 2nd game of the season. It's just been big game after big game for him. 3 for 94. You see, not a lot of grabs, but for big yardage because he gets open and nobody can bring him down.
Well, plus you saw he's got soft hands. Earlier in the first drive, he caught a one-handed one with his left hand. It was pretty impressive to set up the first touchdown.
2nd and a short 5. Paul tries to hurdle a defender, but he cannot. The tackle by Ewing again.
Matt Ewing, I was going to say the junior coming up from his linebacker spot, getting in the backfield. And, you know, they kind of become predictable when they get inside the 10. They bring in Hunter Paul, and they give it to him inside. He tries to bounce it to the outside, and Ewing does a nice job of making that play. But getting back to Otten, he does such a nice job of catching the ball and getting yardage after the catch. That's one of the impressive things about him.
Final 50 seconds of the half. 3rd And a long 6. Saunders rolling, looking, end zone. Otten, does he hold it? Yes, he does. What a catch.
What a catch. You know, he had 2 receivers out in the pattern. They were both wide open. Jeremy Hart underneath. And give Saunders credit. He fired a frozen rope over the middle. And Otten makes a diving catch, his 3rd catch of the ball game for a touchdown. And you see how impressive he can be, as they're probably going to go for 2 here now since they've missed the extra point both times, give him a chance to extend it out to 6 points.
And Del Oro will take the timeout to probably discuss just that. Now for Otten, his 5th receiving touchdown of the season. I don't know if you'll see a finer catch at the high school level. And you mentioned Saunders throwing the rope. Also, he scrambled to keep the play alive because initially nobody was open. And Otten wasn't open by a lot, but he found that hole.
He wasn't. You know, he could have gone underneath. Hart is open underneath. Look at this throw. And look at, completely extends himself, leaves his feet. A one-handed catch again with the left hand. That's SportsCenter stuff right there. What a catch. We've seen him twice go with the left hand. What a phenomenal catch. One of the best plays I've ever seen. I mean, that's a deep dig there. Saunders throws. No wonder he throws it to him.
There's a flag on the field now. This is interesting. I didn't see it. It's right around the 17. And our referee, Russ Bennett, is talking with some of the chain gang guys. Now one of the officials is picking it up. Very bizarre. We're in the timeout here by Del Oro still. You see the flag that's being picked up. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it might have been excessive celebration or something after an exciting catch like that. You know, remember, saw Georgia last week in college. The entire team ran. It was nothing like that.
No.
And I almost ran down and gave him a hug. That's a phenomenal catch.
Well, and here's the thing.
Not sure what happened there exactly, though.
We're going to get the call, looks like, from
because
Russ
if
Bennett.
you're going to go for 2, does it go back or not? That basically tells you.
It is unsportsmanlike against Del Oro. You're right.
You got to have some kind of excessive celebration penalty, which, you know, on a catch like that, that's a tough call.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
You wonder if it was a taunt or something like that. We don't get any more breakdown, but it was either excessive celebration or a taunting penalty. So now that really probably eliminates the chance to go for 2, because if you kick for 1 here, they're going to place the ball at the 20. That's a...
Well, you're right. You know, you push it back, which makes it tough to go for 2, but you missed both extra points. Now,
it's 35 yards. Yeah, it's a little tougher.
Wow, but Otten, from up top where we were at, we saw certainly it was a great catch. I didn't realize, and I don't think you did either, that it was just his left hand. A great shot by Brett Van Blerikamp. I mean, my goodness, diving with the left hand. At the high school level, I'm with you. I don't think we're overhyping it. I don't know if I've seen a much better catch than that.
Phenomenal catch. A deep dig route. He went after it, and all I saw him do was leave his feet from where we're perched here.
and the ball never popped out.
We're in the Del Oro section. Oh, but look at that. Left hand extended. Phenomenal catch.
And he froze time, which is outstanding.
Tough to do.
They're going to go for 2. Saunders.
There he goes.
Why not? Go to Otten. He muscles his way. Did he get in? Let's see. Yes. He got in for 2. And so Otten, just throw it close to him. He'll dive for it. He'll move, grant it, whatever the case may be. Ryan Otten was offered a scholarship by Sac State. No offense to the Hornets, but he may be working his way up the ladder,
well,
potentially.
They play this week in the Causeway Classic, but that was the same play they had to really set up and get them in good field position when they came out after they got the first down. Saunders did a nice job play action, got it downfield to Otten, so they got down inside the 20, and then he had the touchdown. Why not go to him? I mean, they were double teaming him, but still he makes it, you know, he puts his body between himself and a defender and just does a really, really nice job. Look at this. And then he catches it at about the 2 and just backs his way in. And he's playing against a pretty athletic secondary there. 4 catches tonight. He's been impressive.
What a weapon Ryan Otten is. I mean, we talked about Del Oro throwing to the fullback, but even not many high school teams throw to the tight end either.
The only bad news so far, we see Ian Scott heading off the field with some crutches, heading off to the Del Oro locker room, number 17 for them. We'll try to get you an update if we can, one of their stalwarts defensively, but we focus on the positives, and that's Otten with the ability to score a touchdown with an athletic catch and then use his physical strength to back his way in for the 2-point conversion. Not too often you see a 35-yard 2-point conversion.
Well, Scott is the kicker for Del Oro, and you wonder maybe he didn't get hurt on an opening kickoff or something like that, and that's part of the reason why he hooked those kicks. Really not sure what happened with him, but Scott right now, as you said, on crutches, he's going up the hill kind of towards the locker room area. opposite where Del Oro is on the sideline right now. And again, don't remember when Scott was injured, but could have been possibly before he missed those point afters, tried to battle through it. Magleby, though, Mason Magleby was the guy who kicked early in the season. I would imagine he will kick the PATs, and he also just kicked off right there as well. So certainly don't want to see an injury, but not a huge loss because Magleby does have some experience. Ewing again returns a short kick just shy of the 45. So Oakmont, though, they just have 31 seconds, will have the ball at the 44.
Yeah, but that was pretty critical because if you pinned them deep inside the 30, they probably just run it into the line of scrimmage or run the clock out. But now with the athletes like they have with Taylor and Lacey, knowing that Del Oro gets the ball first, you can make a play and try to get yourself at least a field goal or something like that. And nice tackle, by the way, by the kicker that kicks it off and does a nice job of getting upfield to make the play.
Cole Saunders continues to look very good. He's now thrown 2 touchdowns. He had 8 coming in. That's 10 for him and has been effective here tonight. Once to Mateer, once to Otten. A fake to Lacey. Taylor keeping. And he'll just head out of bounds after a short gain, as he was followed very closely by Nathan Richmond, and Taylor gets about 4.
So the ball's about midfield. They have 2 timeouts remaining. They burned one earlier when they were on 3rd and 2 to try to come up with a play. They tried to roll out. They didn't get it. You know, with his arm strength and with Lacey, you wouldn't be surprised to see them try to set up a screen or something where Lacey has an opportunity to get out field, get about 15 or 20 yards, and then you can take a shot or 2 at the end zone. Plenty of time with athletes like they have.
From the 48 for Oakmont, little play action by Ryan Taylor. Looking down the field, and he overshoots his intended receiver, trying to hook up there with Vadim Balabanov.
Nice job by Taylor there. Just putting the ball in a position where only his receiver could get it. He threw it a little bit high. A lot of his throws have been a little bit high tonight, but a lot of that has to do with the Del Oro rush. Did a nice job again, ball faking. But again, look at the Del Oro defensive line when he rolls out. They're keeping him in front of him. And that's big because he could take off there and get a lot of yards down the field. In fact, that's how a lot of these plays are designed.
3rd and 6, Balabanov, the intended receiver. A great story. His first year of high school football from Russia, and just new to the game. And Coach Mortensen said he sure wished he had him since he was a freshman because he's a great athlete. Fake on the draw. Taylor will keep it. Doesn't like what he sees in the running lanes, and he goes down. Well done. That's Reynoso again on the play. Also got some help there from Hunter Paul.
A mix-up on that one as Taylor went back. It was not Lacey in the backfield, but the mix-up happened as he went to fake the draw and then try to make a play, but obviously the running back went to the other side. As we're wrapping up our first half, a very, very good game with some great athletes. Wouldn't be surprised at all. It's Sierra football right here. Right now it's the guest, Del Oro, traveling in from Loomis with the Black Hole up 20-14 here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Comcast.
Del Oro leading Oakmont as we're about set to start the second half here from Oakmont High School in Roseville, 20-14. The Golden Eagles on top in a very exciting first half. As we look at the numbers, Del Oro as a team over 100 yards rushing. Mike McKellar 69 to lead the way. And what a first half for Del Oro's quarterback Cole Saunders, as he was 7 of 8, 128 yards, and threw a couple of touchdowns, one to Ryan Otten and one to Andrew Mateer. Each team turned over once on an interception. Mateer had a pick for Del Oro. Cody Fitzgerald a pick for Oakmont. Oakmont 97 yards on the ground, 55 of which came from Ryan Lacey. Also had that kick return for a score, but yet to complete a pass so far for Oakmont. 0 for 4 is Ryan Taylor, though he is very capable and has thrown a pick as well. But as I mentioned, an eventful first half, Scott, and it got started off right in a hurry for Oakmont.
It was pretty exciting. You know, Ryan Lacey, you understand why during the week we found out he had verbally committed to Utah, and you'll find out why. 11 seconds into the game, we were barely up on our lift, and Ryan Lacey's taken it all the way down the sidelines. Broke a tackle at about the 40 and just has that breakaway speed. So very quickly, Oakmont very excited to be up 7-0, but Del Oro, to their credit, answered big. They got the ball on the drive, took it right down the field. It was a lot of Mike McKellar, and then they gave it to Hunter Paul, the touchdown maker, and he had his 18th touchdown of the season as he pounded it in. They missed the extra point, so it's 7-6, and then again they moved the ball down the field, and this time Cole Saunders throws it out to Andrew Mateer, who had a nice catch to set this up. Barry Robles out in front of him on the block, and Del Oro leads 12-7 at this point. Again, they missed the extra point, so we're worried a little bit. What Oakmont answered, they did a long drive set up by a lot of runs by Ryan Lacey, and then Ryan Taylor calls his own number on the 2-yard line, goes ahead and pounds it in for the touchdown. They go up 14-12, and right back in the ball game, ahead in the second quarter. But Del Oro in the first half, their athletes made some phenomenal plays. None better than this one you're going to see right here. Cole Saunders rolls out on a 3rd down situation, and we'll just go ahead and freeze that. One of the best catches you will ever see is Ryan Otten, the tight end, who set up that field position with a great catch, makes the touchdown catch. They go up 18-14, and oh, by the way, catches a 35-yard 2-point conversion and backs his way in, and that's where the scoring is right now. 20-14, another, hey, Eric, big surprise, another good one in the SFL, 20-14. Del Oro up, getting the ball first.
And they have it at the 29 after another squibber from Taylor. The return is a good one across the 40 to the 41 for Del Oro. It's Wade Westlake, and so the Golden Eagles, one of 5 unbeaten teams remaining in the Sac Joaquin section, and you look at it, it's Merced and Elk Grove in Division 1. Elk Grove got a forfeit win against Franklin. Division 2, it's Del Oro, and then Division 3, Casa Roble, who we saw last week, and Bethel as well. 5 out of 180 schools in the Sac Joaquin section. We're seeing one here tonight being challenged against a good Oakmont team. They'll take over at the 41, Will Del Oro, as we start the second half.
And not only they play in a great league, you mentioned it, Cardinal Newman, Nevada Union, Christian Brothers, their schedule's tough. They play a good schedule.
And they opened up going to Seattle against Kennedy. They, in fact, started their first 3 on the road. McKella with the burst, and he picks up enough for a Del Oro first down. But 3 on the road to start. Del Oro got field turf, all-weather track this year, so they had to make sure they started a little later in the season to have the home field ready. So it was week number 4. This is their 3rd straight road game here tonight against Oakmont. So twice they've had 3 straight road games, 6 out of the 10, which is a rarity for a team like Del Oro on the road this year in the regular season.
Not a good sign for Oakmont. Armando Garcia, defensive lineman, making a tackle 11 yards past the line of scrimmage as Del Oro comes out doing a lot of things they did in the first half, running McKella.
And he has 80 yards. McKella running here. And look at him, shifty through the line there. Again, with the size, sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle, but he refuses to go down on his way to his 7th 100-yard rushing game this season.
That's like a bad party foul. You line up 5 huge guys, and then you put a guy behind him who's tough, who's strong, and who's fast, and you got to try to catch him. And then when they wear him down a little bit, they put a bulldog in there and Hunter Paul. And then, oh, by the way, Cole Saunders can run it as well.
Yeah.
He had 3 carries in the first half. So
last year was Cameron Frazier running for almost 1,900 yards and 11 touchdowns, but also Paul had a good season with 14 touchdowns. But, of course, McKella kind of steps into that Frazier role, and Paul, well, he's still Paul, which is great for Del Oro. Play action again by Saunders. That's worked beautifully. It's Mateer. Mateer inside the 30, sidesteps a tackler. Inside the 20, down to the 15 for Andrew Mateer as he has a pickup of 29. And
nice.
Another shaken up player for Oakmont. Excuse me, Scott.
No, I'm sorry, Eric. Mateer, nice job. Does not go down easily. As we saw him in the first half, it looked like he was going to score down on the side over here. And they said he stepped out of bounds, but.
And there's a flag. I didn't see the flag, against Del Oro, as we see the replay on the move by Mateer, but it looks like it's going to come back.
They might call him for hurdling a defender there, which we'll see what the call is. Remember, you can't jump, despite the fact that Reggie Bush and a lot of players do it. You cannot hurdle a defensive player. Let's see what they call. You know, it's kind of strange, an object like a water balloon.
Yes, I saw that too.
On the 40-yard line. That's something you don't need.
Yeah, coming from the Oakmont side on the field, right at the 50. And Casey Taylor getting an explanation from our referee, Russ Bennett. And I'm not sure.
Oh, they're talking about the water balloon that came out, that they saw it and pointing to the crowd, having them come up. A legal procedure.
Repeat, 2nd down.
I didn't see that.
Didn't see the flag. No, did not see it. So that wipes out the 29-yard play to Mateer.
But really a 2nd and 3 back to a 2nd and 9 situation. Nice play action, 2 running plays, and then Saunders does a nice job of getting it to Mateer. And instead of having it 1st and 10 inside the 15, it's now 2nd and 9 at the 48.
And it's a 6-point game, 20-14. Penalties like that really hurt you.
And it's not like they had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage because they came up in a double tight. They had 7 or 8 guys down, so didn't see that one.
Third penalty against Del Oro. Motion man was Mateer. It's Mike McKella. McKella running up the middle. He'll get to the 40 before he is brought down there. And the one thing about McKella, again, his size, but he runs inside quite a bit.
He does, but you know, the refs are going to look at that tomorrow, and Del Oro's going to look at that tomorrow. They had 2 players moving in motion. They started a motion guy out of the slot, and then Jeremy Hart started to do a yip motion, which he gets to go, but he has to wait until the slot motion is set. Got away with one there as it's now 3rd and short.
McKella up to 93 yards, and so it's a run on the inside for Del Oro and enough for a first down as they're so good in the short yardage situations. And it's Hunter Paul. He's virtually automatic in the third or anything in short situations.
Well, they put 2 running back, 2 fullbacks in front of him, broke the huddle quickly and went on the first sound and didn't really give Oakmont a chance to set their feet. So running on the first sound, 3rd and short, you'll run as a quarterback sneak or to the tailback Paul, and they pick up a first down.
At the 37 for Del Oro, very methodical opening drive here in the second half, leading by 6. Receivers are split, 1 back, that's McKella, fake to him. Saunders looking down the field for Mateer, a little behind him, Mateer comes back for it, and Mateer inside the 10, working hard as he gets to the 9-yard line, so almost a similar reception as the one that he had that was called back.
That's a great throw by Saunders right there because he had the play action, and the Oakmont DB on that side actually kind of shuffled with Mateer, if you will. Mateer took a second to get behind him. Look at him wait, set his feet, wait till he breaks open, and then fires a frozen rope again to Mateer, who refuses to go down. First guy's not going to tackle him as he gets it down. Now 1st and goal for Del Oro.
At the 9, 8 for 9 for Saunders for 156 yards and 2 scores. And it's McKella. Look at him refusing to go down. And it's a touchdown. Mike McKella. Wow, what a determined run by him.
Well, he's only got 3 touchdowns on the season, even though he's going to go over 1,000 yards with his performance tonight. He figured if I get it close, they usually put in Hunter Paul, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this run myself. 1st and goal from the 9. They run the counter trap behind the center, the guard, and the tackle pulling. He punches it right in there.
And so McKella on that run goes over 100 for the game, 7th time, goes over 1,000 for the season. His 4th rushing touchdowns, got 7 overall, but you're right, Paul gets all the rushing touchdowns. And it's Magleby again to kick because Scott's injured. And Magleby was the snapper, so it changes things up. But Magleby was the kicker through the early part of the season. And so Del Oro, a very impressive opening drive. They possess it for 3 minutes and change, and they go up 27-14. They get the touchdown by McKella. 8:39 to go here in the 3rd on Comcast Sportsnet. (27-14), Del Oro on top of Oakmont early in the 3rd. The Black Hole liking that opening drive, and the thing, Scott, that I liked about it, the big pass play to Mateer was called back because of the procedure. They, in essence, went back to the same play, got the big yardage there to make up for the penalty, and McKella refusing to go down after Mateer on the previous play wouldn't go down. It seems to be kind of a characteristic of all these Golden Eagles refusing to go down.
Well, the opening kickoff of the game, Oakmont takes it the length of the field, and Del Oro just says, that's fine. And they run their standard offense. They run it down the field. And Cole Saunders completes 1 pass on the first drive. This one, they come out, first downs on the ground. They run Cole Saunders is 1 for 1 on that drive. And you see now why he's completing 60% of his passes.
And a squibber, little poocher, in fact, that is caught. Might have been fair caught, in fact, by Oakmont, and that's what you need to do in that situation. It's Dalton Grimm. So the kicking has been very interesting on each side with squibbers and pooch kicks and whatnot. McKella on that drive, 4 carries, 33 yards, and the touchdowns. We said over 100 for the game, over 1,000 for the season. 6 plays, 3 minutes and 14 seconds, 59 yards for the Del Oro touchdown. And Oakmont down by 13. Dangerous territory here as they take over on offense.
And remember, they've scored 1 offensive touchdown in the first half. The other one was a special teams play. They need to get a good drive going here to also give their defense an opportunity to rest a little bit.
Crawling through is Lacey. We're probably going to see a lot of Ryan Lacey here. And look at Mateer in there on defense. Again, a lot of guys for Del Oro playing on each side of the ball. Heath and Reynoso up front. Otten, a linebacker, tight end. Mateer as well. Paul is a linebacker and a running back. They don't seem to get tired, though.
Keeps you warm on a night like tonight. We both got our jackets on up here. It's a cool evening here in Roseville, a great venue for high school football. You see the big O in the middle, almost looks like the University of Oregon O, and both teams well coached, good crowd on hand, but the only way to stay warm is to stay out there running around playing football.
Under 8 minutes to go in the third, 2nd and 8 for Oakmont. Ryan Taylor yet to complete a pass. And he does here. Boback with a nice grab. It was almost picked. Flying in there defensively for Del Oro was Nathan Richmond, but Boback goes up and gets it, and a nice catch for him across the 50 on the Del Oro side of the field at the 49.
Boback made himself the defender there. He went 10 yards and then went back and got the football because, like you said, that very easily could have been intercepted or at a minimum knocked down, and was surprised in the first half. Ryan Taylor, a very athletic quarterback, completes over 50% of his passes. Threw an interception, did not have a completion, finally gets one there. We'll see if that helps him get into some type of rhythm. They need to throw the ball to open up Lacey on the ground.
No question. 13th reception of the season for Boback. Fake to Lacey, Ryan Taylor keeping. Taylor trying to turn the corner, Mateer giving chase. Taylor does turn the corner. Does he stay in bounds? He still is going. Look at Taylor. Taylor inside the 20, but he lost the ball at the end. Taylor lost the ball, and it looks like Del Oro has it. So Taylor with a great effort to keep going, but that's often when you fumble. And Brunet, the junior, he ends up with it for Del Oro. What a crushing blow to Oakmont's hopes there.
And Del Morrison is going to try to argue that he was down, but a very, very athletic run. Let's take a look. It's a predetermined run the whole way because he has no pitch man with him. Does a nice job of shifting the ball and was outside his left arm. Breaks a big run down the sideline. Looked like he was knocked out back there around the 25, but as he gets into the middle of that scrum, the ball came loose. Del Oro's very well coached, and they go to strip the ball when the pile up there and trying to get some extra yards is Taylor, and instead turns it over. His second turnover.
Maybe we'll take
can't throw a challenge flag here.
No. Maybe we'll take a look at it again one more time after this play potential. There's a whistle right now because I actually thought he was still in. It was right on the line. There's no question. There's Coach Mortensen right there, and you see the referee, Russ Bennett. He's trying to make sure. Let's watch it again.
So I thought he steps out of bounds coming up here. If they run it just a second, get a good look. No, he's still in. It's tough to tell.
I think he was in. I think he was still in.
No,
I think the officials got it.
He's right. I think he got it right. And the play coming up from the back is where the ball strips loose here. And there's the catch.
Yeah, I think he was in.
I think he stays in the whole time too.
Nice job by Brunet to come up with the fumble.
Nice job with our guys in the truck. Good look.
What a turn of events, though, there, because the ball would have been inside the 20 for Oakmont. Instead, Del Oro has it now up to the 25 as they run it again, and it's McKella. So
remember the first half, though, was the Oakmont turnover that actually got them an opportunity to get back into the game and get some points. So they're going to have to try to create something like that now.
McKella gets about 6 on his 16th carry, up to 108 yards. McKella now 1,013 for the season. 5'9", 155 senior. But Oakmont would have had it potentially going in to make it a one-score game. Now they give it back to Del Oro, who's been virtually unstoppable on offense all night long. And so they give the breather to McKella, and it's Hunter Paul. Paul ends up getting 2 maybe right there, and it's going to be 3rd and a long 2 upcoming.
3rd and 2, short yardage situation. Usually where we see Hunter Paul, I see
McKella back
still in the game. You know, this is a chance. You're up 27-14. You pull it out of McKella and go to Otten down the outside or something like that. 3rd and 2 situation, really a chance to break Oakmont's back if they can get some points here with 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
They'll run instead with Mike McKella. McKella stays on his feet and has the first down up to the 37-yard line. McKella does a nice job there, and he'll move the chains for Del Oro.
A lot of confidence in McKella. He runs the ball so well. He might be small in stature. He's got a huge heart. Holds the ball very close, and when contact comes up, brings it close to his body. So good first down run there. As you mentioned, he's already over 1,000 yards on the season, over 100 yards tonight. Finished off the last drive with the touchdown.
Del Oro winners of 25 consecutive Sierra Foothill League games. Their last loss in October of '03, losing to Placer. Trips to the right but they'll run with Paul. Not much there as he's turned back. Ewing and others there defensively for Oakmont.
You know, you watch that upstairs, though, and you know, Casey Taylor does not have headsets on, but he put 3 receivers out there in a bunch formation sent out to the right. If you notice, Oakmont only put 2 defenders out there. If they wanted to run a wide receiver screen or send their receivers out, there's one that's going to be uncovered. And Dale Mortensen said we might do that. We're determined to try to shut this run down, and we might have to sacrifice leaving an open receiver to do that.
Casey Taylor is the offensive coordinator. He also spoke very highly of his entire staff, but specifically his defensive coordinator, Steve Birch, who helps out so much. There is Paul with nothing doing. Nice job defensively there by an undermanned Oakmont defense. Remember, a lot of guys in there who aren't normally starters. Marcos Benitez going on each side of the ball. He makes a play there. Also, Kyle Wilson in on the tackle for Oakmont.
The Oros really had the ball as we get to the 4-minute point. This play will go off with just under 4 minutes. Really the entire third quarter, and Oakmont's defense is going to start wearing down if they can't make a stop here. They've gone in the shotgun 3 times tonight. They've run Saunders all 3 times on the quarterback keep. This time, could they throw it?
They're trying to. Over the middle to Otten. And Otten, who's made a spectacular catch, drops a gimme. And in essence, the first pass is not completed by Saunders. Does have the pick, but Otten, about the last guy you'd ever expect to drop that ball.
What a good play call. You know, they do a little Florida Tim Tebow here where they fake the draw. He takes a couple steps. I don't think anybody really bought the fake, but Otten was wide open over the middle. Nice throw that time by Cole Saunders. He executes his plays very well, very poised. Good throw, but Oakmont does hold, have a chance to get their offense back on the field.
First punt. Noble's punting for Del Oro. Only other time they've been stopped was on the pick. There's a fair catch signaled. And the ball will be at the 26 for Oakmont. That was Fitzgerald who takes it. So nice job by Oakmont defensively. They get a stop there, but really kind of still wondering back, man, if we would have had the ball inside the 20, but Taylor fumbled. Still down 13 here, but they've kept themselves in the game. But really, they're getting to the point now with 3 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the third where they need some points down by 13.
Yeah, and they got their best drive of the game and kind of early in the second quarter. They haven't done much since. They didn't do much before the end of the half. And, you know, like you said, sometimes there's some karma in there. Taylor had him moving. They fumbled, and right there, obviously, Otten, a sure-handed receiver, drops it. So now they have an opportunity.
It's Avery running left after he went in motion, and he takes a pretty good pop as he tries to move it forward. And no gain on the play for Braden Avery.
They've tried to go around the outside a few times with Lacey and Avery. That was a play they started the game with. The motion, giving it to Avery, coming around the outside. Del Oro's defense, even though they play 5 guys both ways, has really been sitting over there for most of this quarter, so they were anxious and looking for that. If Oakmont has a shotgun set or something where they can get 2 or 3, 3-step drops to get Taylor going, this might be the time to do it.
2nd and 10. He's looking deep, and he's looking to Lacey. Has it at the 40. Lacey down the sideline. He's brought down inside the 20 at the 18. A big-time hook up there from Taylor to Lacey.
That's a big-time throw. 3 steps, set, throws it perfectly out here to Lacey, who this time went out of the backfield, lined up as a receiver. The running backs just shut down the Oro rush coming in. And great throw, great catch as Oakmont has their longest play, not on a special teams play so far tonight.
56 yards to Ryan Lacey. Now in the loss last week to Granite Bay, did have 2 catches for 95 yards, even though he was slowed down in the rushing game, and had the score receiving last week against Granite Bay. 3 receiving touchdowns for the year. Almost was able to break free, but a touchdown-saving tackle by Richmond. Oakmont in business on 1st and 10. It's Avery running up the middle. He's brought down at the 15. The tackle made there by Steve Thompson as Del Oro kind of has a 4-man rotation for the 3 defensive line spots between Heath, Thompson, Reynoso, and Marshall as they kind of just move those guys in to try and give them a little bit of a breather.
Just going back to that throw, Taylor just phenomenal throw, and Lacey, it wasn't a whole lot of room between him and the DB, but you saw again that second level, that extra jet set that he has to make the catch and put them in the position that they're in now. They really need to get some points down here.
Down 27-14. Ryan Taylor has time. Overshoots his intended receiver, looking to bow back, but there is a flag. Maybe pass interference, you would think, though Boback was heavily defended.
Ball seemed high, too. Avery in the slot made it down the end zone, claiming he was open. But, you know, Oakmont's got a little something going here. If they can get some points out of this, they're right back into the game as we're winding down the end of the third quarter.
Is in fact against Del Oro. Big penalty.
See if we can see that. He looked well covered. He looked like there was about 3 defenders.
Pass interference, defense, first down.
Looked like there's about 3 defenders there. Ball seemed high, but obviously somebody got there a little bit early, so first and goal for Oakmont.
Under 2 minutes to go in the third. 20-14 was our halftime score. Del Oro has the only points in the third. Here is Oakmont, though, with a first and goal. Draw. Ryan Lacey breaks the tackle. Lacey in for the touchdown. Oakmont right back in the middle of things.
And they have officially answered, and Ryan Lacey continues to be just a special player. That's the draw play they were going to run at the end of the first half, but Lacey wasn't in there at tailback. This time he's in there, and didn't surprise anybody, but he's so athletic. He broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage and scurried into the end zone for the touchdown, his second of the night.
Big point after to cut it to 6. Taylor has it. Taylor's 3 for 3 in this game, while Del Oro has missed a couple of point afters. They have one and went for 2 once, but it's a 6-point game now, 27-21 Del Oro, and the Lacey touchdown set up by the Lacey reception. We have a dandy, 1:48 to go on the third. Oakmont back in it, only down 6, 27-21 here on Comcast Sportsnet. 27-21, Del Oro on top of Oakmont here at Oakmont High School in Roseville. Eric Alf, Scott Gordon with you. And Scott, in the first half, Ryan Taylor didn't complete a pass through a pick. He's too good of a quarterback. He's completed both these thrown here in the second half, including the 56-yarder to Lacey, which set up the 8-yard Ryan Lacey touchdown run.
56-yarder was a beautiful throw, and then obviously you saw the pass interference penalty, which got them down inside the 10-yard line, which set up Lacey underneath. So now you got Taylor and Lacey with something going here.
6-point game. Del Oro in a battle. Remember, they've won 25 in a row in league, but it's McKella. Mike McKella. Across the 45 to the 46, so he does it on special teams as well. That's shocking. The all-around stand-up, who usually starts on defense, a little ill during the week, so really not playing on defense tonight too much, but has been very good on offense and looked awfully good there on special teams.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Didn't practice much Monday or Tuesday, practiced Wednesday and Thursday for the walkthrough, but anything you can do, I can do better. He sees Ryan Lacey doing some things on special teams and making big plays on offense. He comes back, gives his team great field position to start off this drive.
First and 10 for Del Oro. They lead 27-21. Each team has a touchdown here in the third. McKella, he is tripped up almost immediately, as diving in there was Kyle Wilson for Oakmont. And so the Oakmont defense had one stop in the first half with an interception, had a stop the last time around as they forced Del Oro to punt. If they could get a second stop somewhere in this second half, they'd be right back on par with the chance potentially to take the lead as they're down by 6.
Dale Mortensen said our guys are undersized, but they know how to find creases to get into the backfield. That time, Kyle Wilson did a nice job of getting through the guard and the tackle to make a play really for no yards there. And if you saw what Del Oro did, they had a double tight formation. They might have to open it up a little bit too.
Saunders certainly is capable, but it's McKella again. And Benitez right there in the middle of things holding up McKella. And so a gain of 2, possibly 3, and it's going to bring up a third and long for Del Oro.
You know what that touchdown did? It got Oakmont excited. It also got their defense a chance, some of those guys, to rest and really make some adjustments because they knew Del Oro was going to come in and try to pound it over them. They said, you're going to have to beat us through the air. So far, Cole Saunders' best plays have all been play action. They haven't been straight drops. That might be a game plan they have to go to here as they're in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7.
Oakmont's probably wondering what if with that fumble by Taylor as well, they could potentially be in the lead, but they're down by 6. Del Oro facing 3rd and long. Play action. Saunders looking deep. Mateer's open. On the bobble. Has it. Touchdown. Andrew Mateer as he goes 51 yards on a 3rd and 7.
What a great throw again by What? I mean, every time he's had a chance to make a big-time throw, he's answered. Cole Saunders does it again. He's been impressive all night. Great ball fake, but, you know, when you do stack that line of scrimmage with 7 or 8, it forces man coverage. So what Del Oro does there, Mater runs just the deep post. He's wide open, bobbles it first. Saunders puts it right there. And Del Oro very, very quickly gets a score to put themselves up again by 2 touchdowns.
Again on 3rd and 7. 3rd touchdown by Saunders. Here's Magleby. And Magleby, he has both point afters he has attempted here tonight. And so it goes back to a 13-point lead, 34-21. Del Oro on top. And what about Cole Saunders? 9 for 11, 3 touchdowns.
He throws a great ball, too. He just gives his receivers a chance to make plays. Cole Saunders came into this game completing 63% of his passes. He had 8 touchdowns. He's thrown 3 of them tonight. He's got some great receivers, but it's his ability to keep his composure and poise after the play action, to set his feet underneath him. He's got great targets down the field, but that one right there was huge because Oakmont had given up a big kickoff return, stopped him on 1st and 2nd down for the first time tonight, 3rd and 7 situation, and then Oakmont stays in man coverage, thinking they might try to run over him again, and Meter beats him deep on the post pattern for the touchdown.
Saunders, the second time he's had 3 touchdowns in a game, had 3 against Nevada Union. Also his 3rd 200-yard passing game. He's at 207. He had 238 against Cordova and 280 against Nevada Union. And Andrew Mateer came in 11 catches for 164 yards. Tonight, 4 for 116 and 2 touchdowns.
Well, Mateer's fast, too, and he rarely goes down the first time you try to hit him, so obviously he broke past his defender right there. The cornerback trying to cover him in man coverage, had no help from the safety. And Cole Saunders recognized it and picked it apart.
I bet you Mateer is awfully happy he didn't lose that one. He bobbled it,
yeah,
and he still made sure he secured possession and takes it the distance, 51 yards. Magleby on the kickoff. Here comes the return by Purdy. And he runs into a brick wall, and now all the momentum clearly on Del Oro's side. It's going back and forth so quickly in this game that has now seen 55 points scored.
Clearly kicking it away from Lacey, but so far, if you're Del Oro, you have to be pleased because the last couple weeks, 14-0, 14-7, 16-13. As you look ahead to the playoffs or even next week against Granite Bay, you're not going to beat anybody one-dimensionally, right, whether it's running or one-dimensionally, whether it's throwing. And what they're doing now is showing a lot of schools down the road on tape. Hey, we can run it and beat you, and we can put it up in the air and beat you. And our tight end, our receivers, and our running backs are good. And our quarterback's pretty doggone good.
A lot of weapons. 40 points the last 3 games. All were wins, but 34 here tonight through 3 quarters. Taylor, keeping. Trying to make a move on Brunet, who had the fumble recovery, and gets to the 31. About a 5-yard gain there for Taylor as we end the 3rd quarter here at Oakmont High School in Roseville. It has been a dandy between 8-0. Del Oro looking to clinch a playoff berth and at least a co-championship, which would be their 4th in a row in the Sierra Foothill League. And Oakmont, who's 5-3 and 1-2 in league, battling for their playoff lives. 34-21, the Golden Eagles, as we head to the 4th quarter here on Comcast Sportsnet. Starting the 4th quarter here at Oakmont as the Vikings trail by 13, but they have dedicated this season to a fallen assistant coach, Greg Slater, an assistant coach who died of a heart attack in the offseason. Very well-known coach throughout these areas. In fact, Marcos Benitez, the nose guard and center, said he was like a father to him. And Coach Slater, also previously an assistant at Del Campo and Casa Roble, and we were at Casa Roble last week, and members of the JV assistant coaching staff and the varsity staff as well wore the Hawaiian shirts in honor of Coach Yu, who passed away a couple of Decembers back. And Mike Gebhardt, the longtime coach at Mesa Verde, succumbed to cancer at his Roseville home this Monday, and really those deaths sure hit home because the coaches have such an influence on their players and the guys they coach with as well. Avery has the first down as we start the 4th. But certainly Coach Slater, big loss. Coach Hugh at Casa Roble. Mike Gebhardt, big loss as well, the longtime coach at Mesa Verde as well.
You know, and guys that just did things the right way. And you know, they have such an impact. You know, no teacher spends as much time with these young men as a coach does. They get them for 2.5 hours for practice, meetings in the morning, on weekends. They have them in the summers, in the spring. They really form that bond, and they can be such a positive influence on these young men.
1st and 10. It's Avery who just had the first down reception. Look at Avery cut through. Didn't think he had any room. Brunet brings him down, but Avery 8, maybe 9 on that carry. And even though Oakmont's down 13, we start the 4th. They have plenty of time, but again, they need points on this drive.
You know, ever since, Taylor broke that big run, even though he fumbled it, I think their offense figured they can get around the outside and get some things going, because when they got the ball back, they didn't panic at all. They actually opened it up and had the big catch completion to Ryan Lacey for the first down, then the pass interference call, then the touchdown. And right here, I'm moving the ball pretty well. That time, I thought Avery probably should have cut it up a little earlier, but he bounced it outside, was very patient, set up his blocks well, and now they have a second and short situation.
Yeah, 2nd and a short 3. It'll be Lacey up the middle, and he's again a step away from maybe breaking that one. Reynoso the tackle, but a 5-yard gain there for Lacey. The chains moving for Oakmont as they trail by 13.
I think it's safe to say that was a touchdown-saving tackle.
Right.
We saw the speed of Lacey on the opening kickoff, but Avery in motion. They've run that speed play now a couple times. Once to start the game, they just ran it to get the 7 yards. So you have to honor Avery, which is nice. So you have to keep your defenders on the perimeter, then you give it upside to Lacey. So they have found something with Avery and with Lacey.
Lacey 70 on the ground. He's gone over 1,000 for the season as well, much like McKella. Here's Ryan Taylor in some trouble, and he undershoots it. Was it intercepted? No, an effort there by Mateer as he came diving backwards at Richmond. I believe that it's actually Richmond's 6th there, who made a very good effort to come back for it.
And Ryan Taylor took quite a shot that time defensively, as a lot of heat was being put on him up front, and he took quite a shot up there by Justin. Let's see, he probably needs to learn just to throw this thing out of bounds, because right there, nothing's going to come from that play. Mateer already has an interception on a similar play, and rolling out there needs to realize he was outside the tackle box. He can just throw it up in the stands to a loved one or whatnot and just start on the next play.
Or a hated one, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No. That's the first incompletion of the second half for Taylor after he didn't complete one in the first. 2nd down and 10. Ryan Lacey around the right side trying to make a move. Lacey shy of the 40. Hunter Paul making the stop with some help. A lot of gang tackling from Del Oro. It's not just one guy bringing down the runner for Oakmont.
No, they pursue very well, and the reason I sounded like Jeff Spicoli there with that whoa when I saw Lacey go around the side is because Avery's run that play a few times, and he's had to set up his blocks. That time, Lacey just cut up the field, and it looked like he was going to go for a lot further than he did. It looks like there was a flag that came in late, maybe a 5-yard incidental face mask on the tackle. But you mentioned it well, Del Oro swarming to the ball, pursuing well.
And so that's enough for a first down for Oakmont. Remember, the pass interference earlier set up a touchdown for the Vikings. They have it now 1st and 10 at the 36. Under 10 minutes to go in the game. They trail by 13.
This time they put Lacey out in the slot. Avery again in motion.
And they'll run it with Avery as that fly back, the fly sweep, and nothing doing there. Hunter Paul in on another tackle for the Golden Eagles, and Paul is the leading tackler for this squad. Led the team last year as well.
Leads the team in touchdowns and tackles.
Only in high school football, right?
That's right. Unless you're Rod Woodson.
Yeah. 9 minutes, 25 seconds and ticking. It's 2nd and long upcoming here for Oakmont. Again, Del Oro 45-3 over the last 3+ seasons. Almost 4 now here, full seasons. Just 3 total losses, but they're being challenged again here tonight. Flag comes in from the back judge. It's going to be a delay of game. Not a good time for that.
Del Mortensen very upset.
Dead ball, delay of game, offense.
He sent in the play there. Randall Purdy came in, and then he was also the motion guy. They run motion on almost every play to try to offset the speed and the size up front of Del Oro. And they got something good going with that motion speed play, mixing it up. But
2nd and 14. Play action by Taylor. Trying to float it for Boback, and it's just a little tall. I mean, it was a great idea trying to float it, Boback was in between the man defender and the safety over the top, but again, he left it a little too tall.
One of the things Boback can do there is help his quarterback out. When you're dragging on the deep dig there, is if you stop, then because you let the defenders go in front of you, you give yourself a target, because Taylor did a nice job there just trying to dink it in over the top. But you also got to see a true test of just how strong up front is Jack Reynoso. Did you see he was almost in the backfield for the play action pass, went right through the offensive guard there. As now this is a critical 3rd and long for Oakmont with just under 9 minutes to go, down 2 scores.
Yeah, huge play here from the 40 for the Vikings. Taylor has time, letting it rip deep down the field, and it's knocked away. It's Richmond again. Well done there on that far side by Richmond, as Lacey had gotten free for a second, but it's batted down by Nathan Richmond.
And you know, Lacey's such a good player, but one of the things he might want to do here in the future is come back and try to get in some contact. Look at Lacey, keeps going around the outside. He's waiting. Maybe he'll tip it to me.
Almost
he did have a step on him. You're exactly right. He did have a step on him. If he puts that ball up a little bit higher in the corner, he gives Lacey a chance. But tough play there. Good defensive play by Richmond.
Yep, there he is right there. But be careful for a fake here. I know it's 14. That would maybe keep Oakmont from faking it, but they often do, because Taylor, the quarterback, is the punter. Down by 13 with 8:52 to go in the game. Wouldn't be the worst time for it.
And that's where you see Del Oro almost just in kind of a base defense there.
It is a fake. Taylor, but there's nobody to throw to. Now he throws across the field to Lacey, and it's batted down defensively, or actually on special teams, by Chaz Caruth.
Kind of a strange play. They only sent one receiver out in the pattern. It was Lacey, and they covered him. And then, you know, Taylor's rolling out to the right side, and they put some pressure on him. Kind of an interesting fake, and some of the guys in Oakmont were looking around like they didn't know exactly if that was on or not. But you know, they had to take a gamble. They did it against Granite Bay. They did it against Rockland, and doesn't pay off here.
Yeah, but you're right. Not a bad gamble.
No.
Down by 13. Why not? Just maybe get an extra receiver in the route.
Ball's on the 40-yard line. The way they've been returning kicks, you know, that's not the worst thing in the world. You're trying to make a play and win. You're playing for a lot tonight.
But I'm guessing a steady diet of McKella and Paul upcoming. Right now it's McKella. No, play action to him. Look at Saunders to an open Nobles, and Nobles has his first reception of the game. That's a pickup of 15.
Nobles did a nice job of setting up Mateer down on the goal line, did a nice block to get him a touchdown. But, you know, when they watch tape tomorrow, which you know they're going to do first thing in the morning, one thing he's going to notice is that Andrew Otten is deep, is wide open. There's not anyone within 10 yards of him. And the way that Cole Saunders throws the ball, he can just drop it right in there, and probably has another touchdown pass, which would have been his 4th of the night.
Heck of a call by Casey Taylor on the play action when you think, hey, they're just going to grind it out.
Great call.
10 for 12 for Saunders for 222. Here's McKella. Bounces into an offensive lineman and gets maybe a yard out of it. Benitez looks like he's a little shaken up, but that time bumping into a teammate was McKella there, Aaron Thomas.
Benitez is kind of beat up, and that would really be a loss as they're coming in playing without 3 starters, and he's going to try to go with it as he holds on to his left arm there. But great play call. Casey Taylor, everybody in the building knew we'd see a steady diet of McKella, so he decided to try the play action pass, and actually had, you know, good completion as Cole Saunders came in completing 60% of his passes. He's completed over 70 of them tonight. He is. I asked Coach Taylor before the game, I said, tell me about your quarterback. He said he's good.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Little toss to McKella. Mike McKella, he's tripped up at the 40 after another pretty short gain. Fitzgerald, who's been game on defense, and the whole Oakmont defense, you know, daunting task going up against this Del Oro offense, but they've played as hard as they possibly could, especially without some key guys who are injured tonight.
You know what? They've played very, very well. In the second half, they've made the running much, much tougher. There's been a lot of 3rd and long situations, as we have a 3rd and 4 now, which could be seen as a 3rd and long situation. They're just outmanned up front, and Oakmont admits it. They're playing without some of their starters. You got guys going hard, and they're making some good plays.
3rd and 4. Swing pass. McKella almost may be a run because it might have been a backwards pass, and McKella's not going to get the first down. He's a good yard, maybe even a full 2 yards shy. Might even, at least 2. Might even be pushing 3, actually, as they're still kind of spotting it. And yeah, it's, I'll say, a short 3, long 2, whatever you choose here on 4th down.
Yeah, a little wide receiver screen, if you will, out there through to McKella, who was in the slot, had 2 receivers in front of him to make the block, but the actual backside pursuit came, and it was a great defensive stop. Good stop by Oakmont, and now they're going to force Del Oro to punt. I think they will punt and try to give Oakmont the long field.
And with now 6.5 minutes to go, the 13-point lead is daunting. Maybe delay a game here by Del Oro. Probably not the worst thing in the world.
Delay game, offense. Remains 4th down.
I think Casey Taylor was looking at the clock and said, let's run as much off as we can, not waste the timeout and kick it. You give yourself a little bit extra room here.
So Nobles to punt. Avery's the deep man at the 10. Or it's Fitzgerald, actually, that was the deep man, but it's taken at the 15 and a fair catch there by Ewing. So at the 15, Oakmont will have to go 85 yards down by 13. We will take the break. 6:18 to go in the 4th. Del Oro 34, Oakmont 21 here on Comcast Sportsnet. From the 15, 1st and 10 for Oakmont. They trail 34-21. Ryan Lacey up the gut, and not much doing there. Situation down by 13 with just above 6 minutes to go. They're going to have to start getting vertical.
They are, but let's face it, Lacey can break a play at any time. He's the most athletic player they have, and they also know that Del Oro's thinking they have to go vertical. So let's try something. Maybe we'll catch him in a stun or something, and Lacey will be able to get up inside. But Del Oro, too well coached. They'll keep 5 or 6 guys. They'll shuffle, read, and react right here, and that's the one thing they don't want to do is give up a big play.
2nd and 7, and also Oakmont's going to have to get in and out of the huddle in a hurry. Don't have to go no huddle yet, but got to make it quick.
Yep.
Taylor pumps, didn't like what he saw, being pressured by Reynoso and also Heath. Now throwing down the field, looking for Purdy, and was it picked off? It's Mateer again, and are they saying he was in or out? The officials discussing matters, trying to make sure they get it right.
They're going to give him an interception here, I think. The receiver, the side judge came in to point to the spot, and that usually means.
They said, no, he was out. Let's watch it. Oh, it's close.
Let's see.
It was so close.
This is a dangerous throw back here. He's obviously trying to make a play on the backside to Purdy, but.
Here it is again.
Let's see. Catch. Does he have control?
I don't know.
Catch and one in. It looks like the one outside might have gone step out of bounds before the one inbounds did, but that's
almost simultaneous, yeah. Would have been the second pick for Mateer. Already has 2 touchdowns. My goodness, he's having himself a ball game.
Gets another helmet award with that.
3rd and 7, getting to the end of the line for Oakmont. Down by 13. Taylor keeping. Ryan Taylor runs through the tackle of Mateer, but got some help from Hart as well. Let's see where they're going to spot him. It looks like it will be enough for a 1st down. Yeah, he got 8, needed 7. Nice run there by Taylor.
Number 8 for 8 right there. Calls his own number of play action. He knew all along they need to get 1st downs and then take some shots down the field, and that's what he's looking for there on that play.
And so the clock quickly wound again. Remember, 1st down, they got to reset him, but they reset him pretty quick here. And so we're moving near 5 minutes to go in the game. 34-21, Del Oro in the lead. Oakmont with possession at the 26, their own. Lacey hit almost immediately, breaks the tackle, but only gets 4 or 5 up to the 31. Again, that clock ticking against Oakmont now.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you want to get it to Lacey, but you think maybe you put him at receiver, want to run a wide receiver screen or run a screen pass to him or a draw or something. You saw there he has the ability to break tackles at the line of scrimmage and make great plays, but they can't go 4 yards in a cloud of dust or field turf or whatever it is because they're going to run out of time.
Rubber pellets, 4 yards in a cloud.
Sportex.
Yes, there you go. Here's Lacey trying to get to the outside. He's able to do so. Lacey at midfield. He might go. Lacey, 30. Mateer bumps him out of bounds at the 23. Well, there you go. You get him outside. You saw those pebbles flying up.
He's so fast. And he turns the corner there, and you think, oh, he's probably going to get 4 or 5. Try 40. And did you catch the coach going along the sidelines with him?
A la Brian Billick, huh?
Very impressive. Brian Billick. Watch him turn the corner here. I gotta find out what coach just takes off with him. Let's go. It's like they're running 40-yard sprints. He's right there with them. But that's an exciting play. And, heck, all of a sudden they had the ball deep in their own territory. He has a huge run there And you understand now why they were running Ryan Lacey inside, knowing with that kind of speed, he can just break anything.
130 yards for him, sixth 100-yard game. His season high was 227 against Mesa Verde. He is an outstanding player. Ryan Taylor looking to the end zone. Balabanov, does he hold it? It came out as he hit the ground. He had it momentarily, and Vadim Balabanov just couldn't hold it. Would have been a great catch.
Ryan Taylor makes a really nice throw here. His tight end is dragging underneath, and he's open. He decides to try to go up over the top and get 6 points here. This is a great throw as Balabanov gets behind him, and it looks like he's going to be able to make the play. Look at Taylor. Great air underneath it, tight spiral, and it looks like he has it, and it just can't control it as he hits the ground. That would have been a big play because there's about 4 minutes to go. If you score now, you can kick it deep and try to play the field position game and use your timeouts.
6 straight incompletions by Taylor after he completed the first 3 of the half, though he placed it pretty well. Would have been a great catch again. 2nd and 10 at the 26 for Oakmont. 4 minutes, 13 seconds to go in the contest. Quick drop by Taylor. Now he backs up a little more, drop off over the middle. A lot of time's going to come off the clock right here, though. That's Boback on the completion, but a gain of 4 or 5. But look at the clock. Time keeps running and running.
Boback for 5 yards. That's all right. It moves it a little bit up the field. And all the running they've done with Lacey and Avey around the side has actually stunted the Del Oro pass rush. If you notice, he had some time there to deliver that. Boback was actually the drop-down receiver, not the primary target.
Right.
Nice job of finding him.
Fake to Lacey. Taylor looking to the end zone again, to the corner, and it's incomplete. It was picked off actually out of play. Avery, the intended receiver, double cover though between Richmond and Mateer.
And in that play, they actually had 3 or 4 receivers out. It didn't look like they had a safety valve. Everybody was going deep. They were trying to score on 3rd down. Obviously, no question here. 3:35 to go, 4th down. They're going for it and trying to get 6 here. And Taylor's athletic, and so's Lacey. You know, one of those 2 numbers is going to be called here.
And it looks like timeout taken by Del Oro. They sense that if they get a stop here, quite frankly, that's the ball game with a 13-point lead. So Casey Taylor takes the timeout, and his defensive coordinator, Steve Birch, is going to talk with his squad. Del Oro, look what they've done. Again, in the 4+ seasons, they are 45-3. It's remarkable. The losses, too, and you look at the results over the recent years, those losses during the stretch where they've gone 45-3, they lost the Division II section championship game back in 2004 to Oak Ridge. They lost that game 34-27. Last year, their only losses were to Grant, who went 13-0 in the second round of the playoffs, and to Cardinal Newman, who played for the state championship. But Casey Taylor, now 6 years at the helm of Del Oro, he arrived there in 2002. But look at those marks. I mean, there are very few losses for this Del Oro squad, and the results for them is how far they got into the postseason.
Look at the fans that come out and watch the team. They travel well. They watch the junior varsity team. It's a solid program. The varsity coaches are watching it. They run the same program. They've got good offensive line. The fundamentals of football, blocking and tackling, they do both of them very well.
Let's see what they do here as they will try and defend a 4th and 5. Ryan Taylor goes down. Is Hunter Paul. That's the reason why they've only lost 3 games over the last 4 years. Paul read it beautifully. Taylor tried to fake, and he's swallowed by Hunter Paul.
You know, it's too bad they can't run an option or something like that because he faked it to Ryan Lacey, and Lacey actually ran right up with an open hole, but obviously Taylor on the play action there trying to make a play on his own. Watch this. Fakes it inside. And what a phenomenal play. Hunter Paul scored his 18th touchdown of the season and leads the team in tackles and made the biggest defensive play of the night tonight. As now there's 3:31 to go. They're up 13 points. They can effectively just run this out.
Sac State interested in him and Otten. We already mentioned Heath, UNLV. This is quite a team. It looks like they're going to move to 9-0. McKella falls forward. And it looks like Oakmont's going to take the timeout as they have to start using those, but still they're down by 2 scores with 3 minutes and 27 seconds to go.
Oakmont will take their timeouts. They're going to have to strip it or make a turnover of some type to get back into this one. They're going to have to make a defensive play quickly. But Del Oro, very impressive. Let's remember this game, Eric. You had Oakmont getting the opening kickoff return. Since that point, it's really been 34-7, 34-14, excuse me, Del Oro, as it's 34-21, 3:27 to go here on Comcast Sportsnet.
There's Dale Mortensen talking to his squad, former assistant at Granite Bay. He's had a lot of battles with Del Oro. Del Oro and Granite Bay is going to be a doozy next week. As we said, with the win here tonight by Del Oro, they're in the playoffs, but they potentially could be the 2 seed if Granite Bay were to beat them next week. They would be co-champs, but Granite Bay would be the champion. If Del Oro wins next week and beats Granite Bay, then you would potentially have a 3-way tie between Granite Bay, Roseville, and Rockland if those two win next week as well. Roseville gets Oakmont, and then potentially it's a coin flip because they all beat each other by 13 points or more.
And Del Mortensen's doing a great job.
Yep.
He has a 2-8 team. They've been beat up. He's got some great players, just doing a nice job. Fun guy to visit with this week as McKellar takes it.
He's at midfield. He may go the distance. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Mike McKellar as he goes 75 yards.
You know what? They give it to Hunter Paul when it's inside the 10, so McKellar's decided a couple times tonight that he wanted to get his 4th and 5th touchdowns. And you know what? You could say Ryan Lacey's fast and impressive, and he is, but Mike McKellar has been equally as impressive running behind the tackles.
And McKellar has gone over 200 yards with that run, now 205. And Hunter Paul and McKellar, they rejoice there after that touchdown run. The season high on the ground for McKellar coming in was 146 against Christian Brothers, so he obliterates that total right there.
75 yards to the house, and this one is effectively in the refrigerator.
Magleby has been very good as he's yet to miss a point after, and so a game that was very much in doubt for a majority of this contest. Now Del Oro is showing why they are about to be 9-0.
And you can see Oakmont stacked the defensive line, and then Del Oro's offensive line and tight end Otten just exerted their will. Great run by McKellar.
And so McKellar's got a couple of scores, 2 for Mateer. Otten has gotten into the mix as well. Hunter Paul in the mix as well. 6 touchdowns on the board by the Golden Eagles. We showed you what they've been able to do since 2001, and you stack them up against other teams in the Sac Joaquin section. They have one of the top 5 marks in the entire section since 2000. I mean, they're up there with the heavyweights that win section championships year in and year out. Central Catholic, of course, they had the winning streak of 61 games. It was beaten last year. They're in the mix for a state championship game. Colfax every year. Escalon, also some small school powers. But then you get to those, number 4 and number 5. Again, Grant and Del Oro, the dream matchup, still a couple of weeks away. We may not ever get there because there's plenty of other good teams, Granite Bay, among others, that could be in the mix. But that tells you what what Del Oro's been able to do since 2000. But that one title down there, they don't like that. They've been in 3 title games since 2000, but just 1 championship. They'd like to add to that mix. They have 6 overall, which is among the best in the entire Sac Joaquin section. Ewing's, he's returned a lot tonight, and Ewing gets it across the 30. He's done a good job to about the 32 before his forward progress is stopped. The first man to get to him was Jared Harvey for Del Oro.
And, you know, Del Oro did a nice job. They gave up the opening kickoff return. Since that point, we were going through the scoring. They've really moved the ball down the field well on the drive. McKellar, obviously, with the big play, but all night it's been 5-6 yards. He came into the game averaging almost 6 yards a carry. He had well over that tonight. Was impressive. They gave the ball to Hunter Paul when they needed to, but McKellar's sick earlier in the week. It's a good thing he wasn't healthy.
Right.
He came out tonight and obliterated any rushing totals he'd had prior.
Yeah, he would have had 400 if he had been healthy. Little screen set up to Dalton Grimm. Grimm with some room, but of course Del Oro content to keep everything in front of them, leading by 20.
And, you know, Oakmont's probably going to have to get themselves in a 2-minute set here. They can't continue to huddle up. They're going to have to look at the wristbands and just call the plays on the wristbands. They're numbered on there for them in their 2-minute set.
Well, it looks like Oakmont's going to drop to 5-4, lose 3 straight in the Sierra Foothill after a 5-1 start. But clearly they are a very good team. They're not going to make the postseason now with this loss. Avery bottled up near the Oakmont sideline. but they're in the wrong league. My goodness, you can put them in any number of other leagues, and they're probably a league champion, as you could say for Roseville, as you could say for Rockland. Granite Bay still has a chance to be a champion if they win tonight against Wood Creek and next week. I mean, look at that gauntlet again. They won against Wood Creek, but since then lost to Rockland, Granite Bay, and here tonight against Del Oro. That's not easy.
Excuse me, Eric. And for most of this game, they were right in there with it.
Yep.
You know, they were right there. They had leads twice. They had a lead in the first quarter, a lead in the second quarter. They cut it to a touchdown in the third quarter. They did a nice job. And the first 2 plays of this drive, let's face it, we saw Brandon Avery. He's a junior. He'll be back next year, and Dalton Grimm. So they're just building their program here, and Dale Mortensen doing a nice job. He's got some very, very tough shoes to fill once the season is over with Ryan Taylor and Ryan Lacey, but he's got a good program built here, and playing against this kind of competition, they're only going to get better every year.
Yeah, young defense for Oakmont that oftentimes starts as many as 7 juniors. There's Paul again, much like the play, and there's maybe a face mask. And did Taylor stay on his feet? I think he did. There are a couple of flags, and I think Paul just got the face mask there.
Oh, yeah.
Much like the fourth down play, though.
There.
That was just like the fourth down play, though, the previous possession when he busted through, but just got the mask.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, first down.
Surprised to see Del Oro blitzing there. I'm not sure if Hunter Paul didn't improvise on his own as he jogs off the field here now. His finger got caught in the face mask, and I'm not 100% sure that was the play that they wanted to have. Obviously, it hurt his left hand in the process.
Got to make sure everybody stays healthy, too, because what a showdown that's going to be in Loomis next week with Granite Bay and Del Oro. And they may have to play twice. I mean, we're talking a lot about Grant and maybe Del Oro in the section final. It could be a repeat with Granite Bay and Del Oro. I mean, Division II is just loaded this year as it was last year as well, with Grant winning the title last year. Taylor has Avery open. Got him. Touchdown. A 40-yard sling there by Ryan Taylor. He's not done playing to the horn. You got to like that effort.
He's got a great arm. We saw him throw that one to Lacey over here for 56 yards, and then that time to Avery. And that's not an easy throw to make as he runs to his left, stops, sets his feet with a couple of big behemoths bearing down to lay the wood to him. Fires a tight spiral deep to Avery, who's standing in the end zone. Touchdown. And they're still fighting. Oh, this is why Oakmont's going to get better every year. They're fighting to the very end.
Point after is good from Taylor, the man who threw the touchdown, the first touchdown of the year for Avery. And Ryan Taylor now 8 passing touchdowns on the season, 41-28. Watch it again.
He's rolling left. That's a great block to help him out there, and he throws it and just back across his body is Avery. He snuck behind the defense. He came out of the slot on the backside, running a post, and just kind of snuck behind. And they say when your quarterback breaks the pocket, there's something to do. If you're running a deep route, come back. If you're running a short route, take off deep. I think that's what Avery did. He was kind of running an intermediate post there. He just took off, and that's the reason why you can sneak behind the defense.
And that was
try to run 10 yards and make the onside kick.
Got to go 10. It hasn't yet. In fact, it's heading in the wrong direction. It went 5 and rolls out of bounds. Taylor, not a very good kick there, but he was 2 for 3 on the last drive for a touchdown. So hard to master the art of the onside kick.
You don't do it that often, and you practice it a couple times, and then all of a sudden you get your juices flowing, and you got to come up and touch it perfectly. We actually used to run the exact same kick in high school, but what we did was turn the ball sideways, so you just scuff over the top of it, and then it was like a mad scrum at 10 yards. You didn't want to.
Last week we saw Del Campo's 15-game league winning streak go down on the loss to Casa Roble. In case you're wondering, the state record ongoing, Long Beach Poly, 71 in a row. That's in league. Here's McKella, and we'll see a lot of him. McKella adding to his total. Mike McKella inside the 20, down to the 18. McKella picks up 27, and he's at 232 for the night. During the week, and you see things like that outside of the football field, I think have an effect on the way the kids play.
They're smart.
And pretty respectful, too, as Saunders takes the knee, I should say, right there. And Oakmont, we'll see if they're going to use a timeout or not. Sometimes when teams take the knee, you kind of say, all right, that's good.
Yeah, he was very, very good as a quarterback tonight. He completed a lot of passes, high percentage rate, threw 3 touchdown passes. And one of the best catches I've ever seen in high school still. Obviously, Otten, he had 2 one-handers, 1 for a touchdown, which we didn't even realize when we saw it live.
And so Saunders ends up 11 for 13 for 2:23, as you said, the 3 touchdowns, 1 to Ott and 2 to Mateer. McKella gets a couple of scores as well, as does Hunter Paul. And the Golden Eagles, they march on now 9-0. They came into the night as one of only 5 unbeaten teams in the Sac Joaquin section. They will continue to be in that select company, and they have the showdown of showdowns in the Sierra Foothill next Friday night in Loomis. They are at least co-champions. That's now 4 straight Sierra Foothill titles. They won it outright, and they want to be the #1 seed on the opposite bracket from Grant.
Ryan Lacey, as good as advertised, opened this ball game up with an exciting kick return, made a great catch down the sidelines, broke a couple big runs. He was a lot of fun to watch, as was Ryan Taylor. Oakmont's got greener pastures coming up next season. Unfortunately, they won't make the playoffs this year, but they go to 5-4. And Del Oro, they run the streak. 26 in a row, 9-0, and you know, you can just throw the names out. McKella with a big night, 236 yards. We talked about Cole Saunders, and the way he managed the game was so impressive. It just sets up next week's Granite Bay game.
It should be a good one. We will see a good one next week as well. Franklin of Elk Grove and Elk Grove potentially for the Delta Valley title. Both those teams are unbeaten in league right now, but they have, of course, games tonight. Elk Grove against Valley, while Franklin of Elk Grove has Laguna Creek, but they both could come in unbeaten in league play. Elk Grove is unbeaten overall, one of those teams in that 5-team group in the Sac Joaquin section. As you said, Oakmont very game. They gave the battle to Del Oro, but like a lot of teams, they were close against Del Oro, but just not good enough because Del Oro has that ability, even in close games, to be just a little bit better than